The game is made up and the points do not matter.
I mean, that's true, but I'd still like to have the Vex to participate anyway.
Nope.
Well, this week is also a nope. That is correct, but
Look,
I would still
I'm
like
going
it.
to give you a worldly piece of advice here, right? Stop doing the raids every week. Just don't do it. Don't do it for 2 or 3 weeks and then do it again. And I guarantee you will get a drop because it will feel sorry for you, the fact that you haven't played it. That's how it works.
That's how every other exotic works in this game. You take a couple weeks off,
That
and
means
they
I'd
just
miss
throw
out.
exotics at you.
That means I'd miss out on 2 potential weeks of exotics, though.
You're not getting it, so no, you wouldn't.
Damn, dude!
You'd miss out on 2 weeks of being mad that you didn't get it. Look at the bright side. 2 weeks you don't have to be
zero mercy, bruh. Just for the throat.
We know how Destiny works. You tell Destiny you want a thing, it will work its hardest to never give you that thing.
I mean, I get it, but damn.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.
A show where we discuss tips, tricks, and tools to help all Guardians succeed and enjoy playing more.
What makes us different? Well, for starters, we're not streamers or YouTubers. We just have a passion for Destiny and are dedicated to keeping Guardians informed and up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 info, news, and opinions.
We encourage your questions and feedback. You can contact us either by email at twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com or on Twitter at twotitans_hunter.
Now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter. I'm your host, the Nitedemon, joined as always by Peroty and the Hunter Master Rager, Respawn.
Yay. I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it. What up, Gator?
It's because you're super excited for all the weapon changes, all the weapon tuning.
I didn't watch any of it this week. I'm depressed about not getting the Vex. I avoided them. It's like we'll talk about it on the show, and then I'll cry, and then whatever.
Yeah,
I know we're getting buffs to the Whisper. That's all I really know.
No one cares about that.
Yeah,
there's exactly one change that everyone should care about because it means I get to stop hunting for particular rolls of guns because now they're all going to have them, and it's going to be great, and I love them.
So, wait, what? All right.
Yeah, we get there. That's in the industry what we call a teaser.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I'm teased. Consider me teased.
Yeah. So because we've got loads of stuff to get into, I guess we start at the start and we move right along. Sing along to start. The sound of the gong.
Bong.
Pretty sure he was going to put in a sound effect for that, but thank you, Peroty.
Hey, sometimes be the sound effect we want to see in the world.
I don't blame you. I thought it was.
If we can't do fun sound effects, then what are we even here for?
You know what? That's a good point. I don't know why we're here. Why are any of us here? I don't know.
Because we're here to give the people the information.
Is that why we're here?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to start with
people, information. That's a thing. Okay, sure.
I'm going to start with next week in Destiny, and I'm just going to roll straight into everything else.
Roll straight into it. Just keep it rolling. They hate in. I don't know the rest of that song.
Thank you. So, next week in Destiny. Bungie got it wrong last week. It wasn't a boosted Nightfall rewards last week, or the week that we're currently in. It's next week, so you can enjoy boosted Nightfall rewards. Hopefully. Cross your fingers they got it right this time. All week. You can wreak havoc when Team Scorch returns to the Crucible. And you can also take on the Fanatic in the Hollowed Lair Nightfall. And I guess that'll be the featured Grandmaster of the week. They haven't really said that they're turning on the selection for the Grandmasters, but this is week 7 of them now, so I assume that we're now onto you can select the Grandmasters. You know, it's quite an important thing to tell us that the Grandmaster selections are going live. But again, I guess they might have forgotten, so I don't know. They might tweet out about it. It might just be there on the Vanguard's select screen that you can click on the Grandmaster and there'll be a drop-down box to say which one you want to click and do that. Nobody knows. We'll just wait and find out. So, challenges for week 13. Good news. If you've done them, you've done them. That's it. They're done. But if you haven't, just remember, Master of All, completing all seasonal challenges during Season of the Lost. 75 of those to complete will give you a large pile of Bright Dust. Again, I think it's about 500 Bright Dust. Could be wrong. I haven't completed it yet. I'm still slowly going through them. But, talking of Bright Dust, let's talk about our Eververse for week 13, the 16th of November, 2021. So for silver this week, you can buy the Roshan Bow multiplayer emote. So if you've missed it this week for Bright Dust, for 4,250 Bright Dust, you can buy it for silver next week for 1,200 silver. We have the Slow Jam multiplayer emote, which is a legendary emote, which will be 800 silver. We have the exotic weapon ornament, the Ostroraptor, for the Hawk Moon. That will be for 700 silver. And then we have the Archangel Shell, which is your exotic ghost shell, for 600 silver. And for our Bright Dust for next week, you can have the Lion Tamer exotic emote for 3,250 Bright Dust. The Pragmatic Harrier, which is our exotic ship, for 2,000 Bright Dust. You can have the Pyramid Entrance Transmat Effect for 450 Bright Dust. Chrome Stock Legendary Shader for 300 Bright Dust. The Straw Dog Standoff, which is a legendary multiplayer emote for 1,250 Bright Dust, which I will be picking up. Very good fun. The Wanderer's Shell, the exotic ghost shell for 2,850 Bright Dust. You have the One Fell Swoop exotic Sparrow for 2,500 Bright Dust. We have some legendary gear, which will be our class-based items for the sets for the Nitedemon. We have the Hunter Helmet, the Titan Helmet, and the Warlock, and they will all be 1,200 Bright Dust. We have the Looking Out legendary emote for 700 Bright Dust. The Remembrance weapon ornament for the Dead Man's Tale, which will be 1,250 Bright Dust. And finally, the Crow Projection, Ghost Projection for 1,500 Bright Dust. That's your Eververse for the week of the 16th of November, 2021. And then moving into our Lost Sectors. Whoa! So if you are still hunting down your exotic chest piece, arms, helmets, then this is the place to go and farm those. So each day you can go and farm for whichever exotic piece that you kind of need and have a chance at getting these to drop by farming the legendary or master lost sectors. Don't forget you can farm those master lost sectors as well. It's a higher chance of getting them to drop, but also it's a lot harder and you have to be a lot higher light to kind of tackle those. But I have the list of the legendary ones. Don't forget, whichever is the legendary one day will then shift the next day at the reset to be the master, and so on and so forth. So, for example, Monday the 15th of November will be the K1 crew quarters on the moon, which will be giving you your arms. At the reset on Tuesday, that would then move into the master lost sectors and still continue to give arms, but a higher chance. And Time Sausage Gaming has got a guide for you for that, for the legendary version. Tuesday the 16th of November will be the K1 Revelations on the moon, and that will give you a chess piece. Wednesday the 17th of November will be the Concealed Void on Europa, and that will be giving you your helmets. Thursday the 18th of November will be the Bunker E15 on Europa, and that will be giving you legs. Friday the 19th of November will be Perdition on Europa, will be giving you arms, and PV Shifty has guides for all of those from Tuesday through to Friday. Then we have the Charming Abbey Hour on Saturday, the 20th of November, giving you the Bay of Drowning Wishes on the Dreaming City, a guide for chess pieces this week. And then finishing off the week, Sunday and Monday, PV Shifty again on the 21st, which is the Sunday, Chamber of Starlight on the Dreaming City, giving you helmets. And Monday, the 22nd of November, Filian's Rest on the Dreaming City will be giving you your legs. And there you go. Those are your Lost Sectors starting on Monday's reset, the 15th of November, through to the following Monday, the 22nd of November, 2021. Let's dive right in with This Week at Bungie for the 11th of November, 2021. We have a new emblem for you, new Trials Labs info, a long list of weapon changes, new fashion magazine cover, more Bungie bounties, and, no, not a partridge in a pear tree, it's only November. Everyone at Bungie, both trans developers and allies alike, stand in support of our transgender and gender non-conforming community. We join the call to end anti-trans violence and discrimination. The stars burn bright because of your courage, unwavering strength, and pursuit of truth. Ahead of the Transgender Awareness Week, which celebrates the lives of the transgender and gender non-conforming community from November 13th through to November 19th, Bungie are proud to announce that our new trans pride emblem, Be True. Your light inspires, helps guide us on all the paths to better our future. May it only shine brighter. As Transgender Awareness Week leads into Transgender Day of Remembrance on the 20th, a day to memorize the lives lost to transphobic hate and violence, Bungie also recognises the hardship this community faces. We invite anyone and everyone to join us in this remembrance by donning this new emblem. Unlock it using the code Mike Lima 3, Foxtrot Delta 4, November Delta 9 on our Code Redemption site. And the link will be in the show notes. But it's basically go to the Bungie page, go to your account, redeem code, and you're away. During the month of November, all profits from the sales of the Bungie's Pride Pin will benefit Trans Lifeline in support of their efforts to provide peer support to trans people in crisis through respectful, anonymous, and confident communication and resources.
Earn your honor, Guardian.
So we're going back to the lab again, guys. Trials is back this weekend that we're currently in now. So Bungie did tell us last week that they were going to change a few things up because they weren't happy with what had gone on before Iron Banner. So this week we are revisiting Trials Labs with Capture Zones, which I personally enjoyed because I managed to go flawless on that week. A quick reminder, Capture Zones is still elimination with the following changes. 30 seconds after the round starts, a Capture Zone is enabled. Players can either capture the zone to win the round or just eliminate the other team, like normal. The capture zone has a waypoint from round start, including a countdown timer, so everyone will know exactly where and when it will be. The capture zone starts in the middle of the map in the first round and changes location each round, because I think we had issues last time where it was just either in 3 different locations. So they did say they were going to mix it up with varied locations this time, so hopefully this plays out a little bit different. Hence, Trials Labs, we're still testing the game mode. So Bungie took feedback from the previous Capture Zones labs and made the following changes. We are going to use a stronger Trials map, Endless Veil. Rather than rotating through points that give one team a significant location advantage, we are rotating through 3 neutral zones, 1 at Temple, 1 at Mid, and 1 at Shrine. Players will also no longer get super energy when capturing the zone, either before or after the round ends, which kind of was a slight problem because it helped kind of snowball the effects of getting supers, because even if you'd have eliminated the rest of the enemy team, you could still capture the zone. There was that short window before kind of the round end that if somebody was already standing in it, you could kind of cap it off and all 3 of you would get super energy. So yeah, I could see that that was a bit of an issue. As they mentioned last week, card-based matchmaking is on all weekend, with the flawless pool being turned on Sunday morning at 10 AM. That's PDT, I think, so that's Pacific. Believe that is about 1 Eastern and about 6 o'clock in the UK, 7 o'clock European. I have no idea for Australia. They don't state it in this week's TWAB. As with the previous 2 labs, a 2 times trials rank boost will be available on all weekend. Going forward, they are looking at adding end-of-match rewards prior to getting 7 win cards, making it more worthwhile to play in the flawless pool and for increased reputation gains, especially in later ranks. We are still firming up plans, so expect more information on rewards in December. Thoughts, guys?
You go back to Trials, the way it was not terrible 2 weeks ago, and I'll just quote Trials report. They were just like, Trials TLDR. Capture Zone Trials this week on Endless Veil this time. All zones are in the middle, which is Temple, Mid, and Shrine. The Flawless Pool returns on Sunday. No more weekly win-based matchmaking. And they have plans to increase the rewards in the Flawless Pool. More information in December. And Trials is still sweaty.
Indeed it is.
Have either of you stepped foot in the Trials this week?
Not yet. I needed a buddy, and I didn't get a buddy.
Because they're also doing the 2x Trials rewards this week as well, so all your XP is doubled, so you can earn engrams twice as quickly.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so they made a bit of a mess up, didn't they, last week when they said, "Oh, it's going to be double the Nightfall rewards," and then I think I think it was 2 days into it. They went, yeah, we made a mistake on that. It's going to be double trials, not Nightfall.
Yeah. So our double Nightfall got pushed to next week. So if you're trying to run double Nightfall this week or this upcoming week, you can, but you won't get double rewards.
Right.
I'm waiting for the flawless pool to come back because man, the matchmaking
that's the only thing that made it good in my opinion. Yeah, exactly.
The matchmaking has been like 3, a team of 3 versus 3 randoms, and it doesn't go great. Sometimes it goes okay, but it doesn't go great.
Has it really been that bad?
It's been pretty bad. I did get through the 50 win, pinnacle reward for my Titan in the last day or so. So it's definitely way better than 2 weeks ago. I mean, absolutely hands down, no contest, better than 2 weeks ago. It has been
still not as good as it was with the flawless pool.
Well, right. I mean, we're not to the flawless pool yet this weekend, but I mean, it's still very much Endless Veil is it's a weird map in that you get it's hard to play against because everybody comes at you with a different loadout. Sometimes they rush you, sometimes they sit back, sometimes they do a little bit of both. And you can tell the teams that are good, and obviously 3 people playing together are absolutely going to wipe the floor with you. The bigger problem is even when you go into the team chat with your 2 solo buddies, nobody else goes in with you. And sometimes, I found a couple of 2 stacks, but it's been mostly, like me and Pan going as a 2 stack. Like, hey, let's go in and try this out. Looking at you, 13, 17 guy on my team and your buddy rocking blue armor. So it's at least good that people are playing. Like, people are still going in and playing trials. We're all just getting the floor wiped with us by the elite 3 stacks that are going in there, which again, kind of is to be expected the first day or 2. That's why the flawless pool exists. But it's I was able to get wins, just not in any kind of row.
Gotcha.
And it still feels. And again, I picked up a ton of bounties, turned in a ton of bounties. I've earned, I think, at least an engram or 2 this weekend, which has been nice. So, I mean, again, play for the XP, not for the success.
Have you found it better with the capture the zones rather than just standard elimination? Is there a point where it's like a bit more tactical with one of you trying to capture the zone and the other 2 kind of baiting the others off or trying to lure them away or defending you?
Definitely. And we've had a couple of matches that came down to like one of us was alive, one of us was dead. One of us, it would be like, it'd be a 2-on-2 or a 2v1 on the other team. And one of us would go capture the zone and the other one would sort of play offense or at least slow the other team down from getting to that zone. Now, a couple rounds we won because we were able to capture the zone. And one we won because I think the other team didn't understand the zone, had played too much control and didn't think the zone was important. And we just stood in the zone and won, and they never even tried to come at us.
Really?
So I like the extra mechanic. I like the ability where you can pull off that clutch win, but just by holding an area down, or putting up enough walls with Le Monarchs and trying to get it before your timer expires.
So it's like what we said last week. It's nice to have something different to play with in trials. So it's not just I'm just going to die over and over again. It's I may be able to capture this zone and win the round for clutch for the team.
Yeah, definitely. It's a part of my struggle every weekend too is figuring out what loadout works for me, because I am not I'm not going to jump in the air and hit you with a snipe or a hand cannon as I'm leaping. That's not who I am. I am not. I don't have those reflexes. So some of it was just coming down to figuring out what was working better. And honestly, like on the Titan's ramparts with the Le Monarch, put that wall up and just sort of wait for them to peek, hit them with the bow, and either kill them that way or at least put them down to the point where a pebble in their way will kill them. And then on the Warlock, I switched to I tried my Vigilance Wing, which I deeply, deeply enjoy, but really Crimson and Arc Buddies with the Getaway Artist was where I actually
so deadly.
Yeah, where I had some success. I ran with 2 hunters running identical loadouts with Crimson. So we ran around with 3 Crimsons. It's like, okay, this could work. This will work for me. So I think some of it's just figuring out what loadout on any given weekend works for me and my play style. I can tell you what are working for other people, but it's just finding which weapon I can get the kills with, or I can use to combat the way people are playing it.
I mean, it sounds like you got your loadout though, the Le Monarch with your shield thing.
Yeah, I was working fairly well right up until nobody peeks and they tried to rush you.
Right. That's the one you can shoot through.
Yeah.
Sight and ramparts. Yeah.
No, it's been good fun this weekend. Like it's always frustrating, but it's frustrating. At least I'm earning things. It's not just like 2 weeks ago when you're just being destroyed and you're fodder for the other teams, and that's it.
So what do you like? What are you playing trials for, Peroty? Like, if you're playing trials, you gotta have some kind of goal. Are you playing for armor? Are you playing for weapons? Are you playing for a specific weapon?
I mean, mostly playing for messengers, and also just sort of banking some of the engrams. I'm really hoping with all of these the end of 30th anniversary and all that update. I'm really hoping for a trials pool refresh. I'm really hoping they'll put the summoner like back into that pool so I can re-roll that 1,000 times. Because I don't have like the god roll messenger yet, but I've got a couple of messengers.
You can re-roll it without it being in the pool, I think.
No, you can't. No.
Really?
The summoner does not drop because I want to go to save 14 and say give me a summoner. And
well, not drop, but like not drop, but whenever you focus the engram, that's an option. You can focus the engram to anything you picked up before, right?
No.
Really?
If it's not sitting on Saint 14, if you don't go to that second page of Saint 14 and it's not there, it's not available to you. And he doesn't have the Astral Horizon shotgun, the whatever it's called scout rifle, and the summoner auto rifle are not in that pool. So you cannot pick them, you cannot pick them up from him. And I haven't even seen him. I don't even think they're in the loot pool at all. Even if you just turn the engrams in.
No, they're not.
To Rahul, yeah, they will not drop there. Like they're just not in the game right now to acquire. So I'm really hoping now that we've had, basically a season of Destiny being up, I'm hoping basically the second part of this season, aka what would be a whole new season, that we get a refresh. Not saying it's going to happen, but it sure would be nice.
The Scholar, which is the scout rifle.
Thank you. I have one of them. It sits in the vault because it has a terrible roll on it.
So, Respawn, have you got any thoughts on Trials? Are you liking the fact that they keep changing the mode? Do you enjoy the fact that maybe
they keep changing it, but sometimes what they change it to is infuriating, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that every week's going to be something that appeals to you, but maybe one week you can go, hey, I might try that. Is that something that you enjoy them doing?
I do. I don't like it being static, especially static in a way I don't like. I did really enjoy it whenever they had the flawless pool, like immediately. Day one, as soon as trial starts, you go flawless, you go in a flawless pool. Boom, done. That was my favorite thus far. I know a lot of people disagree. But yeah, as long as they keep changing it for the better and they're taking the feedback and they're understanding what people like or don't like. But yeah, for me, trials, I don't like trials regardless. The only time I even play trials is when I'm trying to farm for something specific or I have a crew to run with. So, I mean, I just don't like it to begin with. Having these changes come and go make it less painful, I guess. So yeah, that's always enjoyable.
Is there something, I know you were farming for something before, is there something as a trials drop that's not in the game right now, aka the summoner, is there something you would be farming for if it were available to you to farm, or is there
the messenger? I still don't have my god roll messenger.
Then why have you not been farming for messengers?
Because I just haven't liked the game mode and I haven't had a team.
Okay. I mean, it's double XP. You could just go in and just play and turn in bounties and earn XP and get a couple of engrams every weekend to turn into messengers.
I know that, but like, I know that, but the problem is, if I don't have someone that I can hang out with and talk to while I'm playing, it's a miserable experience, and I don't want to do it. It's not fun to me, you know.
Sure.
I mean, what you're saying is absolutely correct. Regardless of having a team together, I could be farming messengers, but it would be like, eating chalk at this point. It just would not be fun for me. And for those out there that have eaten chalk, I don't know quite what that tastes like, or even if that is good. But to me, that sounds like it wouldn't be good. So,
we don't recommend chalk.
No chalk.
Trials talk over and done with, because I mean, unless you're really into PvP, which unfortunately this season has kind of turned into the PvP talk with so many trials changes, so many changes to do with how PvP's working with weapons. If you're not a fan of PvP, this season really hasn't been for you for listening to what's happening with Bungie, to be honest.
Yeah, just check out until February.
Oh no, don't check out until February. Check out until the 7th of December.
Where there will be more PvP to talk about.
No, there's a dungeon.
Dungeon, PvP dungeon. You have to fight Xur. You have to 1v1 Xur. That's the entire dungeon.
Yeah.
I'll take him on. I ain't scared of that squid face.
Okay, so moving on to all the new
Mm.
buffs and nerfs coming with the 30th anniversary, whatever it is.
Yeah, and so to be clear, like these are not part. Like you don't have to buy the 30th anniversary pack to get these. This is basically, think of this as the end of the season. Like the season started in August. It's now November. Come December would be the end of the season. This is basically the changes you see at the beginning of the new season. So you don't have to buy the pack. December 7th, when the new anniversary pack drops, think of it as a new season dropping. These are all the weapon changes for that. I know there's been some
new
Full
season
auto
with still the
retrofit?
same challenges,
What?
and it's still first
Right.
season of the Lost. But yeah,
Right, yeah.
technically a
Right.
semi refresh thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a new season in new things to do, but new season in that, hey, you've been playing with all this for 3 months. Let's mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. Bungie say our 30th anniversary is coming up quick, and the new dungeon and cool rewards aren't the only thing that we're adding to the game. We're also making a hefty tuning pass to weapons and perks. We've still got a little bit of time before these changes go live on December 7th. That's when we get the 30th anniversary drop. But in the spirit of transparency, let's get into it early. Please welcome to the stage design lead Chris Proctor. Now, before I kind of go through all these different things, what I'm going to say is I'm going to read through all of it, and then we can have a discussion afterwards. If you guys want to write down any notes or come up with some points that you want to discuss afterwards, we'll just go through it all, read the notes, and then we can have a discussion. Chris, good day again. We have some mid-season weapon updates ready to go live for you next month. Because of Season of the Lost is a slightly larger season than normal, we have a slightly larger mid-season tuning pass for you. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Archetypes. Shotguns. In Season 11, we wanted to see if slugs could be viable in PvE, with a high enough reward for the risk of being close and the time it takes to aim at the head. Good news! They are viable. However, they are currently outclassing pellet shotguns as many other special ammo options, not to mention being part of a dominant boss melting tactic. We'd like to equal this a little bit. However, since pellet shotguns are easier to use than slug shotguns, they don't need a large bump. What they're going to do is reduce the slug shotgun PvE damage bonus from 30% to 20%, and they gave the pellet shotguns a 10% PvE damage bonus. Linear fusion rifles. In Season 14, we bumped these up, but believe that while their potential damage output competes numerically, and they're extra hot right now because of the sweet particle deconstruction artifact mod, they can't compete with the ease of use of other damage options. Last time they got a precision damage buff. This time, it's a flat damage buff. So they're going to increase the PvE damage by 10%. Cast swords. We ship these with a high heavy attack ammo cost to offset the great melee weapon that is also a good ranged attack. But now we believe it's safe to reduce the ammo cost. So we're going to reduce that heavy ammo attack from 8 to 5. Bows. In Season 11, we bumped bow damage up by 10% versus rank and file enemies. Having seen this in-game for a few seasons, it seems safe to nudge them up slightly. They're going to increase the damage versus rank and file enemies by 10% again. Sidearms and fusion rifles. Due to an ancient data entry error, sidearms and fusion rifle projectiles were not hit scan. Behind the scenes, the engine does the math converting a projectile from non-hit scan to hit scan, if it would cover a specific distance in one frame. So this would only occur running at 60 frames per second or higher. Shout out to the specific community that has provided us with the evidence on this issue. You know who you are. So what they're going to do is they're going to increase the sidearm and fusion rifle projectile speed from 999 to 9999, which makes them hit scan regardless of the frames. Exotics. The Vex Mytha class. Yep, we overbuffed this. Did you now? And while it's kept in check by the peak shooting potential of hand cannons, etc., it's definitely melting faces. In playtests, we feel that this is strong enough to be desirable without feeling free. So what they're going to do is they're going to reduce the aim assist stat by 25, reduce the linear fusion rifle mode aim assist cone scaler from 1.1 to 1.05, and it now requires 3 eliminations in PvP for a full overcharge instead of 2. So what that basically means is beforehand you could get 2 enemy kills in PvP, especially in trials. You could get the 2 enemies down, kill them, and then you could switch to the linear fusion rifle to finish off the last guy, which didn't seem fair. I kind of understand this change. Fighting Lion. This wasn't a specific problem, but given the increased frustration with breach grenade launchers in Crucible, it seemed like a misstep to say, we hear you, and here's an infinite ammo version of that thing that you're frustrated about, in the same patch. It should be clear to everyone that a full nerf isn't needed, so they're just adjusting it. Note, this is not a full rollback. There is still a difference between almost infinite ammo and actual infinite ammo, in however the weapons are used. And in playtests, we tried to abuse the infinite ammo. It was extraordinarily oppressive, much more so than we expected given that it had a ton of ammo previously. So what they're going to do is remove the multi-hit requirement, i.e. dealing any damage will grant the buff. Increase the buff to reload stat from plus 50 to plus 70. Again, reload will still be slow if you miss, but if you land any damage, Fighting Lion will reload faster than it did before the nerf. And they've increased the buff duration to 7 seconds. Arbalest. We always wanted this to have utility in high difficulty PvE activities, but its lack of champion mods prevented that. And it's about shield breaking already, so we're fixing that. It now has intrinsic anti-barrier. There you go. Sleeper Simulant. The delta between the Sleeper and the best legendary linear fusion rifles wasn't large enough to make this a compelling option. So while it benefits from the 10% damage buff above, we've given it some additional love. So they've increased the magazine size from 3 to 4, and they've increased the PvE damage by another 6% on top of that other 10%. So there you go. Suros Regime. Dual mode receiver always made Suros a worse 360 RPM auto rifle, but fixing that isn't as straightforward as a stat bump. This may not make this mode dominant, but at least it makes it do what it was intended. Turn it into a high impact auto rifle. Dual mode receiver now grants the following in addition to its current effects: plus 30 of range and plus 3 of zoom. Cryostasis 77k. Given the state of stasis in PvP at the start of Season 14, we deliberately shipped this weapon in a weak state, which almost physically hurt us, but it was the right decision. Not wanting to contribute to the problem, now that we've had more time to evaluate the state of the sandbox, we've reworked this exotic to address its weaknesses in PvE, specifically the following pain points. Fire on release with the charge trigger loses all ammo on firing the free shot. So they're removing the variable trigger completely. Now fires on trigger press instead of release. This will make it feel much more responsive. Charge shot moves to special reload. Getting a final blow with the sidearm enables access to the special reload. Once the charge shot is fired, the weapon reverts back to standard sidearm mode. This does not cost all your entire magazine. And the charge shot now causes an AoE which freezes AI and slows players. Direct hits still freeze. The exotic bow Leviathan's Breath. This bow is underused. Yeah. So we wanted to give it a bump, while also making its catalyst more interesting. Expect this type of catalyst tweak to become more common moving forward. So the catalyst now grants the Archer's Tempo perk in addition to its other effects. And Archer's Tempo is decreases draw time after every precision hit. Not sure if that's going to make a substantial change on a heavy bow, but we'll see. Whisper of the Worm. The original DPS King has fallen out of favour, with the delay before the damage buff kicking in making this weapon less than usable in short-term damage phases, and optimal sustained damage requiring all crit hits but not sufficiently rewarding precision. What they're going to do is reduce the delay on activating Whisper Breathing, which is basically like box breathing, from the catalyst from 2.1 to 1.2 seconds. The White Nail magazine refill changed, was 3 from the inventory, but now pulls 2 from the inventory and 1 from thin air. So we've kind of half gone back on what the original nerf was, because originally the Whisper of the Worm used to pull If you hit 3 crits, you would then get bullets out of thin air. You wouldn't necessarily use any in your inventory. They then decided they were going to nerf it and pull everything out of your inventory, which is kind of why it's fallen out of favour. So it's a kind of half road. Anyway, and they've also increased the damage in PvE by 10%. Another sniper is being looked at, the Darcy. This sniper rifle's damage has fallen behind as other options have been buffed, and its damage is dependent on crits, while also requiring 100% time on targeting. So they've improved its ease of use and bumped up the damage. So they've reduced the flinch, the recoil, and the accuracy degradation by 50%, while Personal Assistant is active. Personal Assistant now has a 1-second delay before deactivating when off target, and it was instant. And they've increased the damage in PvE by 20%. Ah, interesting. Malfeasance. For a weapon all about explosions, this hand cannon's explosions were a bit underwhelming. So they've increased the explosion damage by 50%. Doesn't say whether that's just PvP or PvE. I guess we'll find out. It's going to be interesting because I've seen that one used in PvP quite a bit. Dead Man's Tale. We've seen this scout rifle's usage drop dramatically on console since the recent nerf. So we spent some time tuning in a way that it benefits controller players much more than mouse and keyboard. I.e., we don't believe this buff will improve the weapon much on mouse and keyboard, specifically touching hipfire with the catalyst. Note, this isn't actually branching the tuning between input devices, but the bits we touched are either only present or are much more impactful on controller. So they're increasing the reticle friction distance, no effect on keyboard or mouse. They've less the recoil, reduced the effect on keyboard or mouse. And they've improved the accuracy, reduced effect on keyboard and mouse. Okay, so a controller buffs slightly. Heir apparent. There was a data error in the heir apparent's catalyst resulting in it granting too much damage resistance against players. This has now been corrected, or it will be corrected. No effect in PvE, but they've reduced the damage resistance against players from 75% to 25%. The Lorentz Driver. The bonus ability energy feels extraneous when the damage buff is so strong, and we're limiting certain weapon sources of ability energy. So they're going to remove the ability energy regeneration on pickup of telemetry. Traveler's Chosen. The ability energy granted from the perk was on a curve that isn't intuitively understood. Similar to Lorentz Driver, it seemed appropriate to adjust this in PvP. These changes aren't noticeable in PvE. So it now grants 10% ability energy per stack on activation. Was previously more generous on low stacks, less generous on high stacks. The average amount for 10 stacks are unchanged. And they've reduced the stacks granted on a Guardian defeat from 3 to 2. Perks. Adrenaline Junkie. This perk wasn't performing as well as intended. Eliminations with the weapon can now add single damage stacks or extend existing ones. The grenade elimination boosts the stack immediately to ×5, and they've lowered the duration to compensate for a weapon activation. So this is very similar to how Swashbuckler works at the moment. So if you get a kill with the weapon, it will give you a one-time stack, and every kill that you get thereafter will go up to ×5. Whereas if you get a kill with the grenade, it will give you immediately the grenade stack ×5. Like Swashbuckler, if you get a punch kill, it will go immediately to the ×5. So this Adrenaline Junkie is basically like the grenade version of Swashbuckler. Vorpal Weapon. A perk that granted 15% bonus damage against all targets I'm going to use my heavy weapon on. Question mark. This was a non-choice and sucked the air out of the room for all other damage perks. At the same time, it was failing in its original role, giving players a reason to run a primary weapon against tougher targets. So, originally it was 15% damage on all weapons that it had it on. Now it's going to be 10% on heavy weapons, 15% on special weapons, and 20% on primary weapons. No change to the damage versus player in the super. That's good to hear. Whirlwind Blade. This was too obvious the best sword damage perk around, so while we're fine with it being a good at sustained damage, we pulled it back for the shorter fights. So they're going to increase the number of stacks needed to hit the maximum damage from 5 to 10. Pulse Monitor. What if instead of activating on what feels like a failed state, this activated on a state you'll be in almost every encounter, even if you're winning? Interesting. So they've changed the threshold for the activation from 90% health to 30% shield, i.e. this now requires much less damage to trigger. That's a good thing. That's a win-win. Odds. Quick access sling. The usage on this mod is very telling. It's extensively used on bows and breach grenade launchers, and barely used at all on other weapons. At the same time, we've pulled down some options players had for improving their swap speed, and wanting to make an option available to build towards that on all legendary weapons. We'll be watching how this feels in the wild and may revisit it later. So they're going to change the functionality. It was plus 100% handling at 0.9 ready, stow and aim down sight time for 0.4 seconds after running out of ammo. Now it will be 0.9 ready, stow time at all times. This change also applies to the swap mag perk, as they use the same perk behind the scenes. Good to know. They're going to introduce a new mod, full auto retrofit. We've seen plenty of requests for an accessibility option allowing full auto fire, particularly on fast-firing semi-automatic weapons. We have a setting option in the works for a season after the Witch Queen launches, but decided to put in a stopgap to help players until we are able to ship it. So, please keep these types of suggestions coming. They've added a full auto retrofit weapon mod that enables full auto whilst the trigger is held down, usable on legendary hand cannons, sidearms, scout rifles, and pulse rifles. This will be unlocked by default for all players. The near future. Annual expansions are a good time for system level changes, since they get so much more playtest time over a longer duration compared to normal seasons. We don't like that the desire for exotic catalysts is largely driven by the orbs of power generation they provide, and have something in the works to let players build around that limitation. Weapon differentiation. If I had 2 Void Adapt hand cannons, one from the Surus Foundry and one from the latest raid, why do I care about one more than the other? The stats tend to be fairly close, the perk pools can be different, but there are so many perks, and it's a stretch to say that the perk pool gives the weapon its identity. We've got something shipping on all new and reissued weapons in the Witch Queen that addresses this issue directly, and are working to expand the same solution to all weapons that drop in the future. We've mentioned in the last patch notes that we're not done with special ammo economy in PvP, and have a further tweak coming that should help bring down the amount of ammo floating around. Exotic primary weapons already advance ammo finder mods much faster, but we want to make them feel better in hard PvE content, and are adjusting all of them to reach this goal. We're adjusting some exotics, some that consistently top the PvP usage charts in oppressive ways, some that have had their perks limited to a degree that's no longer warranted. We're looking at you, Chaperone. So there you go. That's all the buffs and slight changes to weapons and mods and perks coming in the 30th anniversary on December 7th. Peroty has apparently made notes, so Peroty, over to you.
Well, half of my notes were just like explaining, trying to unbungee some of the Bungie language, because I look at the way they write things and I go, "What are you just trying to say?"
No,
Does that make
that's
sense?
helpful. Yeah,
Basically, all of these are PvE changes. Like, they're not making any PvP changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Linear fusion rifles, they gave a buff to 10% damage.
Well,
PvE,
they are making PvP
buff
for
across
the
the board.
vex, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, because that's where it's a thing. You know, our caster swords, they reduce your heavy ammo cost, so your heavy
Right.
attack ammo cost, so you can use that a little bit more.
Mhm.
Bows, they're giving bows a second buff. In season 11, they got about a 10% buff to, rank and file red bars. They're getting about the same buff again, giving them another 10%. So maybe bows will be viable or useful for things other than sniping people in PvP.
Now, did you read the sidearms and fusion rifles? This is interesting right here.
That was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm gonna read this whole thing out for people that haven't read it yet. Due to an ancient data entry error, sidearm and fusion rifle projectiles were non-hit scan, right? So you have hit scan, and then you have the other thing I can't remember what it's called. But hit scan
Non-hit
basically,
scan.
yeah, hit scan is basically like COD, right? Once you point at that person and fire, your bullet's gonna hit them, even if they go behind cover. The game has already decided that bullet's gonna land, right? That's
Yeah.
what that means.
Yeah, basically, there's no travel time. The moment
Exactly.
you pull that trigger, that bullet has reached its target. There is no time in between.
Exactly. So, behind the scenes, the engine does math converting a projectile from non-hit scan to hit scan if it would cover a specific distance in one frame. So this would only occur running at 60 frames or higher. Shout out to a specific community that provided us with evidence on this issue. You know who you are. Probably talking about PC Master Race. Right.
No, they're talking about Massive Breakdown.
Yeah, they're talking about
Are
Massive
they?
Breakdown community. Yep.
Well, there you go. Why don't you just say Massive Breakdown? Do you not like Massive Breakdown? Have they done something to offend you, Bungie? Whatever. So what happens now is they've increased sidearm and fusion rifle projectile speed from 999 to 9999. So it's gone from 1,000 to 10,000, which makes them hit scan regardless of frame rate. So every sidearm and every fusion rifle are now going to be hit scan, period, flat out. That's kind of awesome. And to me, that sounds like a closeted huge buff for both of those archetypes. You know what I'm saying? That is.
Well, one thing I was trying to understand, like, did it affect you if you were running the game at under 60 frames a second? That's what I wonder, like, because it's been broken forever. Like they say, it's a data ancient bug that's been here forever.
Yeah.
But it only became visible, viable, useful if you're over 60 frames a second. That's how I read that. So, like, basically, if you're playing D1, if you're playing D2 on a console, you weren't really affected by this because you're playing.
You had no idea. You noticed. You didn't notice.
Yeah. But if you had a brand new console or playing on PC, now that PC play is a thing, and you're running over 60 frames a second, you could have non-hit scan things. And there's an interesting thread that what's his name? Rin Hugs on Twitter had replied to, because I guess he's part of the, I think it says, Destiny Weapon Nerds community, aka Massive Breakdowns, where he actually goes over the, like, here's how we found this, here's how we started trying to look at this, here's how we, looked at a very, very tiny bug. It's like these numbers don't quite match up, and sort of their process to go. And I'll throw that link in the show notes because it's like 8 tweets that we don't need to read all 8 tweets to you. But if you're curious, that's sort of some of their process. And Massive Breakdowns does have, if you're wondering about, what is hit scan, what does all of this mean? How do projectiles in Destiny work? Massive Breakdowns episode 225 part 1, they have, I think that's where they had Chris Proctor on, and they actually go over what these words mean, how this works, how things are meant to hit scan or not hit scan. So if you're curious about all that, that's a good resource where they break it down in English for you to understand.
Yeah. Another good way to understand it is, like, Battlefield is not hit scan. Because Battlefield, you have to accommodate for drop and windage and all this other crap and how fast they're moving. You actually have to aim, and the bullet has travel time, and you have to account for all of that in games like Battlefield. Whereas games like Destiny, Call of Duty, things like that, a lot of the weapons have hit scans. So as soon as it fires, game decides whether or not you've hit, and it hits or misses regardless. It's basically how that breaks.
Magic bullets.
Yeah.
With this shotgun change, Respawn, do you feel that it's going to make the pellet shotguns viable in PvE with certain strats, like in the raid, like you have with the double slug shotguns at the moment?
No.
You don't think it's going to help?
No.
Or
No, and I'll tell you why. Slug shotguns you can crit with, right? A
Yeah.
lot easier than you can with a pellet spread, so you're going to get that extra damage from a slug where you won't get from a pellet spread. And if I'm not mistaken, let's go up and look at those numbers again. So, reduced slug shotgun PvE damage bonus from 30 to 20. So we're looking at like a 20% buff to damage, whereas the pellet shotguns only get a 10% buff.
Aren't they both? They nerfed slugs 10%. They buffed pellets 10%.
Right.
Yeah.
But we don't know what the original was. We know that the original was a 30% buff to slugs, and now it's a 20% buff. But pellets only get a 10% buff. So whatever it was originally, it's got 10% more of. Now, we don't know if that's the same damage overall buff as slug shotguns. But again, slug shotguns also have the unique ability to crit a lot easier than a pellet does at further ranges, right? So no, I don't think it's gonna make them viable in any kind of boss strat unless you're hitting a boss like right up on somebody with like a 1-2 punch type of shotgun. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe like with the old trench barrel that we used to have.
Yeah. Maybe there might be a build out there using trench barrel and the hunter exotic gauntlets for 1-2 punch. Maybe that'll be viable now, but only 10%. I don't see it making a whole lot of difference, especially this season. Because, like, I just did a Deep Stone Crypt again to help some of our clan mates that haven't done it yet. And this season, the fusion rifle damage on these bosses is way stronger than the shotgun strat ever was. You know, like we easily one faced them
Yeah,
with
but
2
is that
nukes
because
on the
of particle
team. Yeah,
deconstruction?
it is. It absolutely
totally.
is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
absolutely no. This season, there's not going to be any shotgun strat this season, regardless of whatever buffs or nerfs they have.
I think what's interesting is that with the linear fusion rifles, they're getting another buff on top of what they kind of. I mean, they've been tuned slightly, and they're getting an extra 10% buff.
Yes.
But you think for the rest of this season, we still have that particle deconstruction, and we have this increased 10% with linear fusion rifles. And I was listening to, I think it's the DCP podcast this week, which I will link in the show notes, because they actually have Chris Proctor on, the guy that's actually written this week's TWAB, going over all these different things. And he goes into a bit more detail of, if you're interested, with each different thing. And he said that the linear fusion rifle buff that increases in PvE damage by 10% will also be effective on the Vex Mythoclass when that switches over to its linear fusion rifle mode.
Right. The only thing
So-
with the Vex Mythoclass is you lose aim assist, right? So that's the big thing. That's why I'm whining about it, right? Because it's losing
we're not whining
25.
about it yet.
You're whining about it because you don't have one.
Yeah, I am, and that is the next thing actually that we haven't discussed is the Vex.
Yeah.
Right here.
The thing is, with the aim assist,
Hmm.
if you're on point, you're still not gonna. It's still not going to affect you. You're still going to be able to hit those people.
All right. So let me stop you there. Anybody who's watched me play PvP, and anybody who's watched me play PvP on mouse and keyboard, I need that 25. I need it, right? And you know they're gonna take that away from me, and I'm not gonna feel it in its heyday. I mean, maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll get it, you know, before this happens.
The week
I doubt
before,
it, but maybe, right? And I just won't get to feel it the way everybody else has been feeling it in Trials and Crucible and this and that and the other, how good it feels.
Yeah.
And that's what really hurts me, you know? Getting the Vex eventually, I know I'll get it eventually. But getting it before this debuff happens is my problem. I want to feel what everybody's been talking about, you know?
the thing is though, with these nerfs to the Vex Mythoclass, they don't actually state it here, but it is actually only PvP changes. In PvE, it will still feel exactly the same as it does now. It will still be a monster, which is what realistically you're going to be using it for, maybe in the next raid or other PvE activities, because you are mainly PvE. So these things, I mean, the 3 eliminations for the full overcharge instead of 2 is probably a good thing, because as I said, if you get 2 kills in Trials, you can zap the third person just like that by switching over to the linear fusion rifle mode, and it's not even a headshot, you know, it's just it's so
I do like that it requires 3 eliminations for a full overcharge.
Yeah.
That's good, right? Because, I mean, for what you just said in Trials, that's a good change.
Is there anything that you guys want to discuss about the Fighting Lion? Any of the changes to that? I mean, it wasn't something I was using. Again, I've listened to a couple of podcasts this week where they've expressed views of they don't use it, and some people do, and they're excited about this.
Yeah, I was sort of surprised to see the Fighting Lion, because that's not really something I've seen anywhere.
Yeah,
it was sort of a strange, like, I could totally see, like, yes, having infinite grenade launcher ammo. There's that, the Destiny Fun Please version of the Fighting Lion user out there who's absolutely making people's life miserable with Fighting Lion, but good for them, I say. Yeah,
I mean, especially with the infinite ammo thing. I mean, you would think you'd see it a lot more, you know?
Right. It was sort of a weird thing. Like, it is very much a niche weapon where you have to know how to use it and use it well. But I was just like, okay, sure.
Well, I'm thinking people don't use Fighting Lion because, it does have that bounce effect, which drives me nutty. I hate the bounce, you know? And number 2, we have all these grenade launchers out there that have, like a chain reaction on it, or spike grenades, or, you get a kill, gives you more of your super back. All these other grenade launchers that can do the same thing the Fighting Lion does. Yeah, Thresh. Are just better than the Fighting Lion. The only thing the Fighting Lion has over them is, you get infinite ammo. Yay. Right? Which is, I guess, strong for a grenade launcher, but it just doesn't have the power that these other legendary ones have. That's the only reason that I can see why you don't see it as much, you know? Plus, the Fighting Lion, it loads so slow after that last nerf. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's what they're saying, that if you land any damage now with the fighting line, it will reload
Yeah.
faster than it did before the nerf.
Right, but you have to hit damage, and if you're as bad as I am with that damn bouncing freaking tennis ball of a grenade, then no.
But I think it's one of those things that if you're building into like grenade launchers, then this might be a good thing for you, because all you have to do is get a bit of damage on them, quick swap to like a hand cannon and finish them off.
Yeah, get
Yeah,
something.
true.
I did think it was interesting. They basically said like this isn't so much a nerf to the fighting line itself, but like a response to the breach loading grenade launchers overall in Crucible.
Right.
So I wonder if there's they're looking at that class as a let's do something about those in PvP a little bit, and just this is sort of the, for whatever reason, the fighting line is one we're going to touch most because that's the one people are using. Their data says, and again, it's not like I play that much PvP, and I'm sure not playing any competitive right now, other than trials. So it's like, maybe it is, there's certain circles where that's absolutely running wild, and people are really being annoyed by it. I definitely run into those grenade launcher folks in PvP, but just hasn't been the fighting line because it takes a
It's
special
salvage
class.
or salvo. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the salvage or salvo.
Mm-hmm. That's
It's
why I
just
couldn't
so good.
No, but I think the thing is, in Crucible, it's one of those weapons where you get damage on the person and you finish them off with something else. So you don't necessarily see it. You get hit by
that's
a
true.
grenade launcher.
Yeah, something hits
you're
you
damaged,
and then you die.
and you only see the thing that they finish you off with. It doesn't say, oh, by the way, they paired it with this, unless you actually inspect the person. So you don't know if this is
true.
a good build in PvP, unless somebody puts out a really good video and going, you should be using this.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single fighting lion video you've mentioned, so I don't think anybody has.
There's probably that one off or something like that.
That may be how I decide how I see what the Destiny community is up to. Is did Nitedemon talk about this? Has he mentioned this weapon at all in the last 6 months?
So a while back, I told you guys one of the first times I was playing Trials. I think it was our team when we were playing. We went up against a YouTuber called ZK Mushroom. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he just deleted us in seconds, right?
Yeah, I would have uninstalled Destiny at that point. If I'd have seen him on the opposite team, I would have just gone, nope, I'm out.
I didn't know who it was. I never heard that name. And
then that was probably for the best, because you would have run screaming the other direction and removed Destiny if you were just like, this is the round we dance on. Because there's no reason to try.
I experienced it. I didn't need to know what his name was. I experienced it. And then I never looked him up after that. And yesterday on my feed, a ZK Mushroom video popped up. I was like, oh, that's that guy. Let's see what the big deal is. And it's like ZK Mushroom 1v5 in a private match. I was like, what? Right? So the first private match he lost, right? But he lost 33-35. I'm like, damn.
So what you're saying is, hey Bungie, what is happening with your matchmaking here?
Right?
Matchmaking is great, is what you're saying. Everything's all right.
And then the next one he won after that, I think it was 28-20, 23 or something like that, right? But the 2 1v5 matches, one he only lost by 2 points, the other one he obliterated. I was like, yeah, I know. No, I know the name now. I'm gonna avoid that. It's just, wow, they paired me against that guy. In no universe ever should I ever be paired against that guy. There's just no way.
In no universe should anybody be paired against him unless you're also a 0.01% PvP player.
Yeah, he's like, that was cruel and unusual punishment, and I need to talk to an adult.
Anyway, you're an adult. You didn't care for it. Different adult.
I need an adult who's not ZK Mushroom and not in my lobby. Yeah.
Have you guys got any other thoughts on the rest of the exotic weapons that are being touched? So we've got the Arbalest
now has intrinsic anti-barrier. I love that. That's really, really good. Increased magazine size from 3 to 4. Yes, please. And PvE damage? Oh.
Well,
now you're talking about Sleeper now.
So the Arbalest gets the anti-barrier. The Sleeper Simulant gets an additional weapon or additional
magazine.
Charge. I was trying to think of what it would laser beam, whatever in its magazine, and the 6% PvE damage buff, which doesn't sound like much, but I feel like the Sleeper, a 6% of a trillion, should be usable.
Also, with that extra 6%, that does stack on top of the other 10% that they
Oh,
said above.
Soros is going to be a monster in
It's
PvP
not.
next season.
I think listening to Chris Proctor, it wasn't 10% and 6%, like 16% on top of what it originally was. It's some weird number, and he didn't kind of go into it. He didn't
Yeah,
elaborate on DCP.
some math version of that. Of
Yeah,
it's this,
that's
this
what he
percent
said.
of this. Yeah, it's not just a straight addition. It's
But it's 10% linear fusion rifles and this, and it's extra damage basically. It's trying to make you use that weapon more.
yeah.
I'm not sure about the Suros stuff. I mean, the plus 30 to range will take that up to 90 in range, I believe, because I haven't used the Suros for such a long time. Every now and then I'll kind of pull it out and have a go. And
Well, the Soros next season is going to be a monster. Plus 30 range and plus 3 to zoom. That's
Yes.
PvP meta next season right there. Calling it. And then here's going to be the sidearm right there. See, I never used the
time to
sidearm.
kill is still not that high. I mean, I agree. Soros is gonna be a good one, but it's not like that's not a change that's gonna totally make everyone's life fall over.
I
And
mean, plus 30 range is a big deal.
Right, but
Yeah.
it's also for it's the slow firing. It's a 360 mode. It's a 360 RPM. So it's you got more range, but it's a slower bullet mode. It's the
but it hits
dual
harder.
shooter
What do you need like 5 shots to kill somebody with that mode? I think 4 or 5.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like that.
We'll see. I see it being a problem next season, and this sidearm too. I never used this because of the trigger release mechanism was really weird to me, but it looks like they're just taking it out.
Cryostasis 77k.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what
variable trigger completely. Now fires on trigger press instead of release. This will make it feel much more responsive. I agree. Charge shot now causes an AOE, which freezes AI and slows play. Wait.
It freezes AI and slows players.
Wait. This is a sidearm, right?
Yes.
Hold on. Am I getting my sidearms confused?
It's the one freezy exotic sidearm.
Oh, I was thinking of the one that's got the big laser beam on the bottom of it.
It's the freezy one. Yeah, that's the one where I thought it was because they were like, when we introduced this, it hurt us, but we brought it in really, really weak because of where stasis was in PvP and everything, and I mean still is. They were like, we can't bring a super overpowered stasis weapon into the game when people are already not super happy with stasis as a thing. So I thought it was they're like, we made it super weak, we're gonna make it less super weak now, and the whole firing mechanism was always super weird. Like, make it weak, whatever, but the firing mechanism was a lot of what kept me from using it because I'm like, I don't understand this gun. Like, I know how to use it, but it just seems like more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, trigger release should not be how you fire a weapon. That's just weird. Leviathan's breath, Archer's tempo. Yo! I mean, that's a good change.
Now, what I didn't realize until I was again listening to the other podcasts is that this is quite a unique bow to be using in Gambit. This is the Gambit Invaders Bow. So they were all getting quite excited about the fact that it's now got the Archer's tempo, which I was like, I'm thinking kind of boss damage or kind of. I very rarely take something like this into PvP, but they were explaining you can literally get a body shot on somebody and they will die.
Yeah,
and
Leviathan's breath,
if you get a kill, the Archer's tempo will kick in. You can then go to town on the opposite team. So it's a definitely it's a good one for Gambit.
Yeah, a good one for. I mean, I love it in PvE too. That's a phenomenal bow, dude. And the cool thing about that is, how you have to have heavy ammo finder to have heavy weapons ammo pop up. Well, this also stacks with bow ammo finder, whatever that's called, and it will add to this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I love that bow. That bow is so much fun to use. Whisper of the Worm. Here we go.
Well, before we go there, I think it's interesting too. It's the catalyst for the Leviathan's breath, not the bow itself. So you need to have the catalyst for this, otherwise you get nothing.
And I think with the catalyst, isn't it? If you're like me and you haven't pulled this bow out since it was given a catalyst, it's literally you put the bow on, you go kill one enemy, and the catalyst will drop, and then you have to go and defeat so many more enemies. But that's literally what it is.
I didn't know that.
And the catalyst gives you the colossal quiver. It maximizes your quiver size, which is apparently 80. So you can have up to 80 arrows in this exotic bow.
No. You have 15 as opposed to I think it was 10 before.
No, it says 80. I'm going with what Peroty says.
You don't get 80 rounds.
Imagine that.
So
I'd
broken,
carry that
dude.
all the time.
That's what I'm saying. I would never have any other heavy.
It says 80 arrows. I'm going with it. If Bungie says so, I'm going with it.
So reduce delay on. Okay, this is Whisper of the Worm. So reduce delay on activating whispered breathing. So instead of 2.1 seconds, it's now 1.2. That's really good. That's really, really good. White Nail magazine refill change was 3 from inventory, but now pulls 2 from inventory and 1 from thin air. Yo, ammo economy is back. Oh god, that's gonna come back in a lot of boss strats right there because of that, if nothing else. And increased damage by 10% in PvE. Yeah. Oh yeah. Whisper's coming back in a good way. Darcy's gonna be competitive. There's always been, for you guys that don't know, what does more damage, the Darcy or the Whisper? Well, after the change was made and the Whisper had the reduced magazine, Darcy actually does more overall damage because Darcy had more rounds just available to it, right? And now it looks like, okay, so Darcy now gets reduced flinch, recoil, and accuracy degradation by 50% while the personal assistant is active. That means when you sight down, it's kind of like the same thing Whisper of the Worm has. It's like whispered breathing, but for the Darcy, right? So once you activate it, you get reduced recoil, reduce flinch, and reduce accuracy degradation by 50%. So that's really good. Personal assistant now has a 1-second delay before deactivating when off target. It used to be instant, and now it's increased the damage by 20% in PvP or PvE. So that's going to put it on par with the Whisper of the Worm. Somebody's going to, probably Fallout's going to have to retest the two of these to find out if Darcy's still king or if Whisper of the Worm now inches out because of the new ammo economy thing. That's going to be dope. Malfeasance.
So I got a quick question for the White Nail perk.
Yeah.
When it pulls 2 from your inventory and 1 out of the air, do you have to, does that proc on you dealing damage? Is that you get the precision hit,
what happens,
or you just have to deal damage? Basically, my question is, do we get into the
hits in a row? Hits. Bam, bam, bam. On that third hit.
Okay, then you get your
White Nail.
Okay,
it has to be 3 precision hits, and then it gives you the White Nail perk.
Yep.
Okay. So it's not like you can just hang out with your Whisper in a corner somewhere and wait for the ammo to refill. You have to be actively.
And it doesn't have to be in a row either.
Damage.
It also doesn't have to be in a row. You can get crit, body, crit, and on that third crit, it'll activate White Nail. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. No. How does that work? Crit, body, hit. That doesn't work. It's 3 in the magazine, and that's it. So if you don't get the 3 crits,
okay, yeah.
It's not 3 now. It's always been 3. You always had to hit the 3 crits.
No, I thought it used to have 4.
No, never had 4. Black Hammer, Black Spindle. This, no.
Oh, okay.
Always only 3 because you had to hit the precision.
I don't know what I'm thinking of then. I don't know what I'm thinking.
I don't know what you're thinking about.
Does
anybody?
Probably
I don't know much about snipers, but I know they need more than 3.
Well, the high impact ones, yeah, definitely. So Darcy,
no, you did Darcy.
I know. I'm seeing if you had anything to say about the Darcy.
Oh, the Darcy I've just never used, and honestly, I had to look up all of its perks to go, what are all these words they're saying, and do I care about them? Nope, still don't. Moving on.
No, Darcy is a really good sniper rifle. Malfeasance, increased explosion damage by 50%.
This one I'm really curious about because I love the Malfeasance. I don't know if this will be enough to make me love it better in more things that aren't Gambit or taken heavy activities, but I'm curious.
So
I'm really curious to try it out.
The people that I do a lot of my PvE nightfalls with, whenever the boss is taken, we use Malfeasance as a team. We use Malfeasance, and this is just going to make it so much worse. It's going to make it so much worse. Dead Man's Tale, scout rifle. Everybody knows what that is. I'm sure you've been shot by it in PvP at least once.
Even when you're on PC, do you use keyboard and mouse or do you use controller?
So for PvP, I tend to use controller. Sometimes I'll forget and I'll use mouse and keyboard, and then I'll be like, why can't I hit my shots? Oh, because I suck on mouse and keyboard.
Dead Man's Tale might benefit you because of the changes that they're making, buffing controllers to make it a bit more viable. Although, even in Iron Banner the last week, I saw a lot of Dead Man's Tales, and I'm on
Oh, yeah.
console playing
Yeah.
console players,
Mhm.
so this is only going to make this better. So the
Yeah,
players that were
it's a good gun.
continually using this are going to feel so much more benefit from this, whereas the people like me that put it down and went, they did something to it, I don't like the change, might want to come back to this now.
Yeah.
What is reticle friction fall off? That's a new term for me.
Oh, well, that's a fall off of your reticle friction, obviously.
I mean, fair enough, but does that mean the bounce? Is there less bounce? Is there less recoil? Is that what they're saying? I mean, what does that mean? Okay. Also, less recoil and improved accuracy. None of these are affected by mouse and keyboard. So yeah, that's going to be good for me. Heir apparent catalyst. I don't think I have that yet. Reduce damage resistance against players from 75 to 25.
This was when they're just standing in the ball, the hamster ball, and just not
Yeah.
taking any damage when they're spinning up. So they're not shooting you until they want to start shooting you, but literally the hamster ball takes no damage. And they found a bug in it. So
Well, it took
they're changing it back.
25% damage, but they gave them 75% resistance.
Yeah.
But now it's only giving them 25% resistance. Moving on to Lorentz Driver. Remove the ability
Do
energy
you want an
regeneration.
answer to your question or not?
To what?
Your reticle friction. Your reticle friction, which is a
got
controller
it?
only, is how much reticle will slow down when it approaches the target within aim assistant's effective range, and how much it will follow or try to stick to the target when your reticle is on with aim assist's effective distance. So basically, it's related to aim assistance.
Gotcha.
You know, if you're actually holding your reticle where you want it to go or not.
Gotcha.
I'm glad you got that in at that specific point in time, because another minute and he would have forgotten what he'd asked.
Mm-hmm. And I'll link it.
Look.
I found it on the Crucible
this.
Guidebook's massive breakdown of aim assist and accuracy and their interactions with each other that our buddy Mercules posted 5 months ago. So I'll stick that link in here for you to toss into the show notes. So it has all of these fancy terms of aim assist and accuracy and bullet bend. So if you really want to know what these words mean, here's some words from the man that should know. And if he doesn't know, then let Destiny prove us wrong.
The changes with Lorentz Driver and the Traveler's Chosen, where you pick up the telemetry and you get the kills, and it gives you ability energy for doing that. I think the reason why they're doing that is because they're changing ability regeneration in PvP. I believe. I think they wanted more gunplay, and I think this is something that is going to be coming a bit more to the forefront, coming into the Witch Queen. We're going to see a lot more of, with less ability spam and more gunplay. I mean, they may decide after a season of the Witch Queen that they've maybe done the wrong thing and these changes will be reverted back, and they'll just say, we love Destiny the way it is. But I think this is the way that a lot of people have been asking for, less ability spam, more gunplay in Crucible. So I think the changes that they're doing with Lorentz Driver, removing ability energy regeneration on picking up the telemetries, and the stacks of getting kills with the Traveler's Chosen, where you can either get a damage buff or use that to then regenerate your grenade, your melee, etc., is just something. It's again, we say this every kind of couple of seasons. It's a piece of a puzzle that they tell you, and normally it's a piece of a puzzle that Respawn gets angry about, and then the following week there's another piece of the puzzle that Respawn's angry about, and it's not until we see the whole picture that Respawn goes, huh, okay. But it's like that every season. Is that you wait? I think in 2 weeks' time there'll be a piece of the puzzle that you'll get really angry about, because it's a cycle. We're on this cycle. It's the cycle of life, and the cycle of Destiny is that we get fed these little morsels every couple of weeks, and you're guessing at what's going to happen, but you don't know the full picture until they actually tell you, and you go, well, yeah, that makes sense, and I'm not really that angry about it now. So,
or you're doubly angry about it because you're like, this is stupid and I hate it.
Yeah. So who's excited for the new perks? Because I'm excited about Adrenaline Junkie.
So Adrenaline Junkie, is this like is it going to behave like a rampage now? Is that what I'm understanding here?
No,
it's going to behave like a swashbuckler,
which is
But
why
for
they've
grenades.
nicknamed it Grenade Buckler. So
Same thing.
with swashbuckler,
same principle.
you get a melee kill, it'll instantly give you the 5 times stack.
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be for grenades. So if you get a grenade kill, it will immediately go to 5 times stack. Whereas if you get a weapon kill with Adrenaline Junkie on the weapon, it'll give you a 1 time stack. You get another kill, 2 times stack, all the way
Now,
up to
that
5.
stack, does that apply to the weapon damage or the grenade damage?
Yes, it's applied to the weapon damage.
Weapon damage. That's why they were telling us, back within the Festival of the Lost, hey, keep all your Adrenaline Junkie rolls of things, because we're going to make good changes to it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I've been hanging on to mine because I didn't know what was coming. So yeah, very
Same.
nice, I guess. So it's like I don't want to say it's a better version of Swashbuckler because Swashbuckler, a melee kill activates it, and this one a grenade kill fully activates it. So it's Swashbuckler, just a different activation.
I think with this, it's a shorter window to use it than it is for Rampage, because if you think about Rampage and even Kill Clip, they're slightly longer, and even with Rampage spec mods put on the weapon with Rampage, you can get that up. I think it's like about 10 seconds, isn't it? Something, or 8 seconds.
No, it's like 7 seconds max, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah,
It's
it's a quicker perk. But if you're in like 6v6s, you get a grenade kill. You can then immediately turn around with that weapon and have a 5 times stack to just melt the next person. So you could go on a tearaway if there's more people just running at you. So it's a welcome thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's definitely going to be used more, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a perk that I looked at and I was like, I don't know why I would ever use this. So, yeah, glad it's doing a good change.
Robo weapon, pretty easy. It was 15% on all weapons, but that made it a go-to for every single heavy. So now they've changed it. Robo weapon now.
Are you really going to change off of the heavy if you've got Vorpal on there for the boss damage?
You're not, because even if it's only 10%, it's still 10%.
Yeah, that 5% damage loss, I don't feel like it's gonna. Yeah.
What else would you put on a rocket launcher, for example? You can't increase the magazine capacity on a grenade launcher, right? Would you really put minor spec on a grenade launcher? I don't think so. Major spec? Probably not. What else of the available mods? Let's see what you can even put on a rocket launcher.
Counterbalance.
Counterbalance? Oh yeah, freehand grip on a rocket launcher. Icarus grip, yeah.
Icarus grip, yep.
Dragonfly spec on a grenade launcher. You know what? Oh, rocket launcher. Yeah, no, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Rampage spec. Sprint grip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm often going on jogs with my rocket launcher, aren't you?
Targeting adjuster. For them headshots. You need the headshot.
Yeah.
Taken spec I use whenever, obviously, you're going against taken enemies. Radar tuner.
I think the biggest hit for these perks is the Whirlwind Blade.
Surrounded spec. You know what? Surrounded spec on a rocket launcher.
Nice.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Whirlwind Blade, I think, is the biggest thing that is going to take a hit from the change for the increase the maximum damage from 5 to 10.
I don't use swords in anything because I'm not doing any content that demands them. So, meh. I agree with you. Bungie said, this along with Vorpal were like the two things to go to: Vorpal weapon and Whirlwind Blade. They're like nobody used anything else, so we're going to touch both of them.
And I think again, you have to look at this as just one piece of the puzzle. This, as we've said always, when they did things for Beyond Light, it was like they were doing stuff so that they could see ahead of time that maybe there's a boss strat in the new raid or even the new dungeon that they're going, we need to take this down slightly because we don't want them to kind of just be omnipotent in their power. So yes, they're still going to be viable with certain strats, but we don't want it to kind of be over powerful. So maybe in the new dungeon there's going to be a boss that just stands still.
What are we talking
about? I was talking about the Vorpal weapon and the Whirlwind Blade because of the changes with those. I was saying that it's kind of just a piece in the puzzle, that maybe there's something coming further on down the line, like the new raid or the dungeon, that would benefit if they hadn't kind of taken it out.
Well, the caster weapons kind of are benefiting now because caster weapons, with Vorpal on them, and it now costs less to sling your blade. I mean, meh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably it's either the new content coming, or again, I'm basically treating this weapon pass like it's the end of a season. We're starting with a new season. Even if we're not getting a new set of activities, they're just going, this has been the go-to thing for 3 months. Let's switch it up. It's time to make something else the king.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite excited about the change to pulse monitor. So it activates at a higher state, so it'll just activate whilst your shield is damaged, where you've still got 30% of your shield. But pulse monitor, I've got one on a Suros rapid fire Fool's Remedy.
Isn't that just the one that reloads your magazine?
It automatically reloads the magazine and improves the weapon handling when critically wounded. So now it's not going to be when critically wounded, it's going to be when your shield is down to 30%.
30%, yep.
But also on the same weapon, I have Eye of the Storm, so the weapon becomes more accurate and boosts handling at when your health gets lowered. So it's a really good pairing on certain weapons to have Pulse Monitor and Eye of the Storm, because you can whip that weapon out really quickly and get a kill very, very fast. So I'm quite excited to use that sidearm with the change to this Pulse Monitor. I mean, I think other people have heard, we're talking about scout rifles with that on it being quite good, that it automatically reloads your scout rifle, so you don't, if you're taking damage from something like a barrier champion, and then you can just keep constantly hitting them because you're constantly blocking a pulse monitor. It's a good change for some weapons.
Yeah, I wonder if Eye of the Storm is going to get touched too, because like with Pulse Monitor, Bungie says, we don't like things that activate on a failed state. We don't like you to have to fail for this thing to kick in. So I don't know if that'll get a change too, because that's one I've never used. Because it's like I don't want a perk where it's like you're screwed. Here, this perk might help you out. Looking at you, bottomless grief, before they changed it.
That's why I liked it on the sidearm. It's because although I'd kind of pull out the sidearm when I was really critically low, I could get a good kill on it. Although it wouldn't necessarily give me health, but know that I can pull out the sidearm quicker and get more ammo in, because sidearms only have like about 20 bullets in them. So to get more
depending on the
ammo
sidearm,
in there,
some have less, some have more.
Exactly, but if you're constantly proccing pulse monitor, it constantly, every time you're getting damaged, it kind of refills the magazine. Not entirely refills it, but it gives you more ammo in the magazine when you're taking damage, which is quite nice. So when I spray and play, just it helps.
Yeah.
So this next one, quick access sling. Like it says, it's mainly used on bows and grenade launch. On a bow, I have targeting adjuster because you want a headshot on a bow, and on a grenade launcher, I have.
You are playing it wrong, sir.
I have
at
boss
the moment
spec or major spec.
You want quick access sling.
And Bungie says you're wrong statistically.
Well,
maybe you're not wrong, but Bungie says that's.
You might want it after the fact, but right now, this only procced when swapping to that weapon. If you had a bow out all the time, it would be no benefit.
Yeah, but the idea is to have a legendary bow with quick access sling. You get the shot, body shot, headshot with the quick access sling on that bow. You quickly swap to a hand cannon to finish them off, and high impact hand cannons.
That's PvP. I'm talking PvE, right?
Well, you wouldn't use it in PvP unless it's like. No, actually, you wouldn't. But I think that's the reason why they're changing it. This is another one of those things where they haven't specifically said it's a PvP change, but it's one of those metas that is really frustrating the higher skilled player that you come up against, because every single time they will bow headshot you with a hand cannon so quick that you can't even respond to it. So I think it's one of those things that's why they're changing it slightly.
Right, but for PvE, you wouldn't have this on a bow because you just have the bow out.
We're not talking about
time.
PvE. We're talking about the reason why they're changing the quick access sling.
Okay. All right, fine.
And the same with the grenade launchers. If you're not running an exotic like the Fighting Lion, and you've got like you were saying, a special weapon, a grenade launcher, you get the damage on them, you pull out your hand cannon or pulse rifle, whatever, and get that kill with that weapon. So you don't necessarily see that the fact that you've been killed with a grenade launcher and a bow. It's the secondary weapon that they whip out and get you with the final shot.
Now this next one though, I don't know if I'm reading it right. Because
you're talking about the new mod, aren't you? That they're going to give you. This is the one that Peroty's excited about.
If this is what I think it is, then that's going to be beyond broken.
I am very excited about this because it means I can stop, using the one true full auto pulse rifle. But now, any of them could be once I get that mod,
right?
Or just turn that setting on entirely once they ship it and say that looks like a good accessibility for me.
That's my problem.
Down.
what Peroty just said. Does this mean for right now they're giving us a mod, but a season after that, on all of our weapons, we're just gonna have an option to go full auto.
I think
Probably not.
this is
Probably not
something
all
that
of the weapons, but maybe.
yeah, this is something they're
mean-
looking into more for accessibility options for people. Where
Because
you know,
if you look back at some of our pulse rifles that we've had in the past, right? We've had some pulse rifles that once you put full auto on them, it actually increases the rate of fire.
yes, but that is a perk on the weapon, not a mod. The mod won't increase the fire rate; it will give you just full auto.
Just hold the trigger down. Okay.
So
Yeah.
if I have a full auto pulse rifle and I
Yeah.
put a full auto retrofit on there, it doesn't
Nothing
become an
changes.
auto rifle.
You will have to see.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this because this is
It's going to be a
one-
bug in the game. It's actually going to double whatever fire rate is already on there.
Yes.
So your 1700 rounds. Oh, I'm sorry. Your 700 round a minute auto rifle is going to go to 1400 rounds a minute. So there you go.
Yep, sounds fair. I like it. Yeah,
You're gonna empty your mag in half a second.
yeah, I'm really curious about this because I've had a Hailing Confusion pulse rifle that I really enjoy because it's full auto, and I like the way it feels. I like the way it kicks. It's one of my go-to PvP weapons.
Right.
Before it was like you need a messenger or you're screwed. So I'm really curious to be able to extend my love of a nice full auto pulse and not have to hunt for the one roll that gives me the perk I want.
Right.
I'm happy to see this. I can hunt for different perks when I'm not trying to find the one true perk because I'm old and slow and need the full auto.
But I'm thinking of things like my Night Watch here that has explosive payload, rapid hit, accurized rounds, and small bore. Putting
Right.
full auto on this monster would be amazing.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
We're not
that's what I'm
disputing that.
thinking.
I mean, to say nothing of the full auto messengers we're all going to be running.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's going to be
I'm just
interesting to
excited
see
about
how
this
this,
change.
like you
Full
were
auto
saying,
time worn spire. God.
it's like you're saying, Peroty. I wonder how this is going to feel on some of the Vice rapid fire frames. Can you put it on there? Is it going to do something extra? And the Suro sidearms with the rapid fire that they available on them, or is it just going to be?
Or is it going to kick like a horse and you can't control it for
Yeah,
PvP
is
because you
it-
can't keep your shots on target?
No, that's just it, right? You empty your magazine in a second, it's equivalent to a shotgun, right? Just
Yeah.
sidearm, right? As long as you land on target, they're gonna die.
You've either killed something or whiffed every shot, and it's a 50-50 every time.
Yeah,
It's
I
either
wonder
gonna
how
be
this is
great
going to
or
work
terrible.
with intrinsic weapons.
or weapons with the perk already unlocked.
It's going to be one of them things that we kind of just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Cheese will tell us that there's a certain pulse rifle that will
Hmm.
fire 800 rounds a second because of the way this perk works with that perk.
Absolutely.
and then okay, what?
Or it's gonna work on bows when it wasn't intended to, or some insanity. You know,
Mhm.
you
there's-
full auto bow.
You did see which class of weapons was
Yeah,
also
I
close
did. That's
by.
what I'm saying. It's gonna accidentally work on a bow or some nonsense.
The Telespo.
No, Telesto's an exotic. It's not a legendary.
Oh, sir, no, not the Telesto, the Telespo.
Oh, Telesbo. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, okay.
I should find that tweet from, I think it was Cool Guy, talking about the Telespo. Anyway.
So, any more thoughts on anything that we've kind of gone over, or move on with the threads of light?
I'm gravy.
You're gravy. Oh, good.
I'm gravy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's go on a high note. I love the full auto retrofit, and I love that it's an accessibility feature on top of something that makes my accessibility as an old man greater.
Right.
Well, old man, tell us what's happening with the threads of light.
People won. It wasn't you.
People won. They got really beautifully rendered. Am I the only one who also kept expecting it to be like an actual I don't know thing, like a full on magazine, and not just like three renders of people? Which I'm.
Is it not a magazine? I thought it was.
No, like they were like, here's the threads of light, and basically
Yeah, our digital fashion magazine. Yeah.
Where does one download this magazine?
Yeah.
I've yet to see I mean, again, maybe I'm just missing something. I'm like, is there a PDF somewhere? Is there a thing? I mean, yes, there are beautiful renders. Like I can't remember who pointed out, but I also agree with it. Like just the renders of the folks they choose are beautiful. Like I mean, and obviously they're using their like full on we are Bungie, we can make these.
Yeah.
I just gotta say that Hunter has some beautiful style. I appreciate his color scheme. The
Yeah.
Titan needs more color in his life, and the Warlock just looks like a Warlock. Sorry, Warlock.
See, I don't like the Warlock at all. I like the top half of the Hunter, like what you're talking about, but there's a distinctive lack of color on the bottom half of the Hunter, if you notice. It goes from really vibrant, very peacock to drab brown,
Those are hunters as a people. I can now confirm this by playing trials. Every hunter likes the color black and sadness.
Yes.
There are no colorful hunters in the world. They don't
Yes,
exist.
but his top half is colorful, and he didn't make it mad. Anyway, that's my opinion. The Titan, though, like I thought the Titan looked really, really good, and then I saw his legs, and I'm like, how does that match? How does that flow into the everything else? I'm getting a real Ripley Aliens vibe from the Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he looks pretty good. I think he looks.
I really should actually do one of these. At least put it out there. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the Threads of Light, Vanquish Twisty, and Dawson Sudden. All look good.
Yeah, they do. I mean, nothing's stopping you but you, bro. Go ahead and show them your bright pink seashell samurai armor.
Oh yeah. The only thing stopping me is remembering it exists.
Yeah, I guess. And after that, looks like we got hotfix notes.
No, sir. You cannot skip the most important part of this TWAB.
The more bounties.
That Latin America actually got some bounties after being completely skipped over. That you can now take off. You can now take off November 15th and go hunt folks in Latin America. And yeah, Nitedemon, you've been heard. Your cries have been heard, and
but they didn't pick you.
Partially answered by Bungie. They did hear you, and they did give you 1 day. So take off November 20th. You're going to need to buy a PC because apparently nobody plays console in the UK. I'm sorry, sir. No one.
Or Latin America.
Yeah, Latin America too. There's no consoles. Unfortunately, we have not figured out how to ship Xboxes or PlayStations to the United Kingdom. They're an island. This is very confusing to us.
Couldn't figure out how to do a console.
As a matter of fact, you're under investigation for how you got yours. Saying.
Yeah, well, he clearly got it from the mainland. They're not island consoles. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, was it Latin America? You've got November 15th. Marshall Invel Rambo. Is that
Infernal?
Infernal. Yeah.
Iron Life, and the Vanguard. I'm guessing the Vanguard Brazil.
You mean Iron Life? Iron?
Yeah, Iron Life.
Iron Life. Iron Life. You've been hanging out with the Brit too long.
Yes.
No, it's just fun to poke you. It's more fun that way.
And then November 20th in the United Kingdom, we've got Pinge, Benny, and Anubis.
Hygiene?
I don't care. I don't care. They're on PC. And I'm sorry, DMG has ignored me this week. I messaged DMG and I said, I'm up for this. I'm on console. I'm quite willing to do console, maybe a bit of Gambit on the PC if need be. But it looks like you've got PC kind of covered. But I can play console.
Nothing.
I know.
Yeah, it's like congratulations, listen to people. No consoles, huh? No one plays console anywhere.
Not a single console anywhere to be found.
I looked at that and I was like, hey, they did it. Oh, but they failed. But they did it. But they totally failed. So I mean, credit for trying, I guess. Half credit, partial credit.
Partial credit is the way to go. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. At least there's something. At least Latin America got a bone thrown to them because they had nothing.
Is what that is.
Yeah. At least Latin America has participation because they were just like, we're going to ignore your entire region. Just no one plays Destiny there, not a one. And not even they tried, not real hard.
Where's North Korea? I don't see North Korea on any of these.
I think it's because I don't make it obvious that I could stream it. I could stream it as well, DMG. Honestly, I could stream it.
He'll do it.
I will.
He'll definitely do it.
That's a threat.
I will. Yeah. Just don't tell my wife.
With both of his megabits.
All the megabits.
Both of the megabits. All two of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not at the moment though, because my megabits are down. They've been down for a good week. I'm on
Oh,
the
so
backup
here's half a
internet.
megabit. There you
Yeah.
go.
So it would have been a
His-
bad
his-
week to actually do any kind of streaming.
See,
His dial-up modem's got you
see,
covered, bro.
yeah. I was about to say America Online, but that wouldn't help you. UK Online, UKOL.
We had AOL. Yeah.
You can't. It's America Online. You're not in America.
No,
It doesn't get
they
you
gave me
online.
the free disc. I got online with it.
Oh god. Oh god. No, just stop. Just stop. Calendar changes, user research emails, hot fix upcoming extended downtime. Yeah, let's go with the hot fix.
So Respawn. Did
What?
you, in fact, turn in your survey for your in-depth Destiny journal?
Oh, did I?
I deeply, deeply want to be a fly on the wall when they read yours, and if they select you, I want to know. I want to be there. I want to see a recording of it.
No, Peroty, tell the
I
people
went
about
off.
this.
I
Go on,
went
tell the
off on
people.
it.
Tell the people what's been happening.
Because
this
I
last
waited till after
week.
I waited till after my third.
No. Peroty's going to tell the
third
people
run this
first.
week,
Peroty's
and
going to
I
tell the
was
people
I was
first.
living. I was in a bad way.
What happened this week, Peroty? Were user research emails sent out to people?
They were to some people, and let me pull my
No.
let me find mine. No.
Read what it says there. Read what it says there, and I will tell you different in a second.
I'm going to read what it says there. I'm going to
Good.
say.
I'm going to tell the people, and I'm going to get angry. This is where I rant.
Yeah, it is.
Nitedemon rant.
Hold on.
It's not a niggle. It's a definite rant.
Oh yeah, it's 200% rant. Maybe even
I've
400%
already
rant.
seen the rant in chat form,
Let's
guys.
see.
I already know
Let's
what's coming.
Okay, so this week, and I'll take this moment to remind you that if you are feeling left out because you did not get an email, maybe just maybe you should check to make sure that your Bungie profile, your email and or SMS settings are set up so they can actually email you. And just check there. And Bungie has a couple steps. Hey, if you're not receiving any emails from them at all, ever, even about hey, the new season is upon us, check your settings because that may be the reason. Because for many people, in fact, I'd say probably everyone who had email contacts, they'll say, hello, we're looking for Destiny 2 players like you to participate in an interview plus a 1-week diary study between December 2021 and January 2022. This research is 100% remote, so you can participate from wherever you are located. It then goes on to say,
no, say that last part again.
Here's
Just
what
the
we
last
like.
part.
Yeah, the research they're doing is 100% remote, even in bold. And then they say, so you can participate from wherever you are located. And they say, during the week, you'll be asked to talk to a researcher, submit daily diary entries. There'll be a 1-hour interview at the beginning of the study, and a 7-day set of tasks and diary entries to complete. It should be no longer than 30 minutes a day. If they select you for the study, you'll get a $450 gift card as a thank you for your valuable time and feedback. If you only complete part of the survey, you'll receive compensation for the part you completed. And they have a survey to fill out, and there's an interpretive dance section and an essay question. They'll have you send back to them, and maybe you'll get selected. So Nitedemon, tell me about your experience, because this is a 100% remote, so you can participate from wherever you are located. Opportunity from Bungie. Doesn't that excite you?
To be honest, I am so excited. And when we were talking about it, with the Guardian Hub guys and the Guardian Down guys. And I got my email, checked my emails at the same time as you guys were checking your emails. I was like, oh, this is amazing. They're looking for Destiny players like me. They want me to participate wherever I'm located. Brilliant.
100% remote.
Yeah, 100% remote. Start filling in the form. It gets to the point of, so do you live in the US or do you live in Canada? I'm like, no, man, I live in the UK. At that point that I put in that I live in the UK, it kicked me out of the survey and went, thank you for your response. I was like, what's going on? Hang on. Going back and having a look at it, you can only participate if you live in the US or Canada. Now, that isn't where I'm located, but again, I can participate wherever I am located. I sent a tweet to DMG. DMG has ignored me. Several people have jumped onto my tweet and also commented and responded to it. No DMG. I'm very, very angry. because I'm willing. I even sent him in the message that I am willing to stay up a ridiculous amount, whatever time it is, to talk to a researcher for an hour to give them my feedback. I will take time out of my day, my sleeping schedule, to speak to them because, I enjoy this game so much that I'd actually participate in this. No, nothing. I am so angry. One, that I got the email in the first place, that they've then gone along in the TWAB and said, earlier this week, Destiny 2 players in the US and Canada were sent an email and a survey about user research and opportunity. No. All the players were sent it. I live in the UK, and there were other UK players that had also jumped on my tweet and said, I thought it was because, I was under 18. Like, no, it's because we live in the UK, and somebody somewhere messed up. Now, that somebody somewhere hasn't actually apologised. They've not apologised in the TWAB and said, oh, by the way, sorry. Normally, when they do something silly and go, oh, by the way, we give you less bright dust last 6 months ago and you didn't realise, but we're telling you now. It's like, nothing. Somebody somewhere should have seen these emails going out to all the Destiny players. I really don't get it.
Yeah, that seems like someone said, let's select the list of everyone. Where can you actually participate in this? It doesn't matter. Just send it to everybody. It'll be fine. I'm sure no one will notice. Yeah.
And nobody important did.
No.
Yeah, Bungie, there's a whole thing where there are more countries. If it's just for part of North America, then say it's part of North America. Don't send to everybody. That's it.
I don't understand that, to be honest. Why only research for... I mean, I understand the point of because of time zones and things, that it might be difficult for the Bungie employees to actually get in touch with other people that live in different countries. But if those people in the other countries are willing to put themselves out to help the researchers, then surely that should be taken into account of going, okay, we'll agree to meet at this point in time that is mutually beneficial for both of us. I mean, like, we do this podcast on a Saturday afternoon for me, morning for you guys, that it's kind of midway between... It's something reasonable. It's not like when we first started, when I was getting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to do a podcast that, was 10 o'clock in the evening for you guys, but 3 o'clock in the morning for me. I'm still quite willing to do that. And I don't understand what information they're going to get from... Well, I mean, yeah, they're going to get some information from players in the US and Canada, but it's only a select few. I mean, other people's opinions are still valid, but they're not being heard, and I don't understand why they're not actually taking those into consideration. I mean, Australia, do they not, warrant anything?
No one in Australia plays Destiny.
Germany, France, Spain, Italy.
It's not like they have
Russia?
a community manager in Germany or anything now, or Russia. They definitely don't have community managers in either of those places to be aware of this.
It's frustrating. Really is frustrating. Sorry, I won't go on it about anymore. That's my rant over and done with.
I think you should, because I mean, they make a big deal. It's remote from wherever, and nowhere in the email do they say this is limited to U.S. or Canada. Nowhere is this like, you can do this as long as you're one of these two places. It's like, oh yeah, you can go from anywhere, and then you get part of the way through. Which again, I mean, it's not like it's a super long survey, but you're still putting your time and effort and getting your hopes up that, hey, maybe you have a chance at $450 and getting your voice heard directly by Bungie. To have Bungie go, sorry, you don't live in one of the 2 approved countries we decided we wanted to talk to, and lied to everyone else that said, hey, we'll talk to you. No, we won't. And now you've made Nitedemon sad. And he's had a rough week, and you shouldn't.
I don't think sad is the word. I think there's another word.
No. He's British. It's sad.
Are you sad?
I'm so sad, I'm going to be quiet for the rest of the show.
Oh, no.
See? You've broken him. Oh, no. Our Nitedemon.
Something that we've tried to do for 147 episodes, and you've done with one email. That's some talent right there, actually. Yeah.
That's a word for it. So there are a couple of things we mentioned earlier. The calendar change, trials coming back. They were like, hey, extra Nightfall rewards. We're kicking that back a week. As always, there's a hotfix. There's downtime. Respawn told you last week that there's extended downtime coming next Tuesday, November 16th, from 5:45 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific. Adjust for your time zones. We had the hotfix 3313 come out this past Tuesday, which fixed a few issues, and really it was so few issues I almost forgot it happened this week. The submachine dismissal requiring you to defeat 3 opponents instead of 2, that's been fixed. the issue where the subclass and exotic armor perks were unintentionally activating when damaging stasis crystals, fixing that too. And our poor friends trying to read Frenzy and Rampage perks in Polish, that's been fixed now. So those are different words. So if you're Polish, you can't participate in the study, but you can know the difference between these two perks. And so that's
Also, another issue that Bungie still has yet to fix. If you play Deepstone Crypt and you're colorblind, all of the buffs are red. They're all red. Every one of them. Scanner, red. Operator, red. Suppressor, red. They're all red. And it's like, Bungie called this out forever ago, and I just played Deepstone Crypt this past week, and they're all still red.
On is there a different color blind setting? I mean, not to say it's not an issue, because it's obviously an issue.
Yeah.
Is there a different color blind setting
Yeah,
other than the Tritonopia colorblind mode?
Yeah,
or is
they
that
have
the
like
one you
3 or
need
4
to
ones, but that's the one that affects me. I'm yellow. Yeah, I'm that.
Yeah.
So that's what affects me the most.
You're Titan colorblind, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do say it is a top issue being investigated. The scanner and operator augments in Deepstone Crypt are the same color in the Tritonopia colorblind mode. So they're aware of it. It's been passed along to the team. You can take a drink. But yeah, it's on a list somewhere. Being added to that list is good news, Polish folks. You can read perks. Chinese folks, bad news. The Frenzy and Rampage perk and the Rampage spec mod, all the same name in Chinese. So you're either rampaging or frenzying. There's no way to know. The Wicked Overgrowth shader isn't available for players who completed the Iron Banner quest on all their characters before the fix went out to correct the issue. Sorry, so it's still not fixed. If players start the Lost Lament quest on the character and complete it on another character, Banshee still tries to give you the Broken Blade to the first character to complete the quest that no longer exists. Here's a Broken Blade, you can do nothing with it, be sad.
Nice.
When Warlocks perform a Phoenix dive, they cannot slide for 5 seconds. So once you Phoenix dive, no sliding. You can dive or slide. One or the other. You have a 5-second timeout. Yeah, those are your weird issues for this week. As always, there's a whole known issues article where colorblind settings and all sorts of things are there. So if you're going, hey, are you still aware of this as a thing? Check that list. It's probably there. They'll get to it eventually. And now we're going to get to loud noises and movies of the week with beautiful
Loud noises.
Titan Space Squad flying through the air. Which Respawn, I should say, don't watch this because it's Titans, but I will say listen to it because it features the Deepstone Crypt lullaby.
Wow, that's such a beautiful song.
Alliances torn one way or the other.
Look. So I'm gonna say this because I had to specify this the other day in the chat. Titans in PvE, I don't mind. Titans and everybody else, you're just as equal. You're both worse than hunters. Titans in PvP are where my problem lie, right? So if you want to bring a Titan on my team for PvP or PvE, I'm sorry, you don't have to ask permission, dude. You don't have to be like, I know how you feel about Titan. No, that's only in PvP, all right? You can bring your Titans, or we can watch Titan videos, or whatever, when it comes to PvE. That's all fine. PvP is the problem. Just
Follow
so you guys know.
Would you drive this Racing to the Witch Queen car?
Absolutely.
It looks phenomenal.
It's a great color scheme. Is that a real car?
I'm guessing no. It definitely a 3D render. I mean, it could be a real car. You just have to, make it real.
I mean, if this was a NASCAR car, I might actually think about possibly, maybe watching NASCAR one time.
No, just get pictures of the car and you save yourself many, many laps in a circle.
That's fair. Artist of the week. More babies! It's all of the babies!
Fallen babies.
So
More fallen babies. And then something Riven is definitely not a fallen baby. Or it's what fallen babies grow up to. No. It's some right there.
That's a good rendition right there.
Yeah.
Riven, and for all the people that say that she's not a dragon, I had this argument with somebody, and they're like, oh, Riven is a dragon. No, Riven's not a dragon. Riven's an Ahimkara, right? And they're talking about, in the lore, they were talking about how what was it? Not Saint. One of the Titans wanted to fight a dragon, and so the Ahamkara became a dragon. Right? You can wish for the Ahamkara to be a dragon or to fight a dragon. The Ahamkara is not in itself a dragon. Enough said.
So what is the Amankara? And I'm not asking to poke you. I'm honestly curious.
It's just a creature. It's its own thing.
Okay.
It's its own thing. Yeah.
'Cause
It's
I
a
heard-
wish-granting creature. It's like a genie. It's a
Okay,
wish-
because I heard them referred to as wish dragons. So they're not wish dragons. They're just genies that can be dragons but don't have to be dragons.
Well, they're not even genies. Like I said, they're their own thing. They call them wish dragons because they're large and they're serpentine-like, but they're not.
In charge.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, and that was a lot of information. If you made it this far, bless your heart. You're one of
For
our
real?
kind of people. While every trial leading up to the 30th anniversary might not have this much meat on the bone, please know. Cosmo can promise they will have plenty of gravy and stuffing, and we'll see us soon.
Nice.
So yeah, that's from Cosmo and DMG, who will not talk to Nitedemon about the lack of UK representation.
Nope.
Or apparently consoles in the entire country.
Won't do it. And as a matter of fact, hey, Demon, I need you to check your email. I've been trying to get your counterpart on the show, and obviously nothing's happening because you're ignoring my emails. So can you go in there, reject me politely, tell me that you can't come onto the show because you have too many things to do, and we can just go from there, all right?
I'm sure he'll get right on that.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to get them both in the same place at the same time, even though it's impossible. And I have yet to hear back from him. Houndish just won't respond.
Yeah, can't be done. Because he's not talking to us. Houndish is also likewise angry at the Bungie bounty situation and the lack of representation. So he is also boycotting speaking. So he's done.
You know, that sounds familiar. I know another British guy that's
he's also full of it. That's why not
Yeah.
Arf isn't here. Not Arf was preemptively boycotting Bungie's poor decisions.
right.
See, it's a problem solved.
He didn't even know they were coming. He just boycotted it anyway.
Yeah, no, he knew. He knows. He knows what's up.
Does he? Fair enough.
And Bungie did put out a tech blog this week that was filled with everything but tech. An intern's experience working at Bungie, and honestly, reading through this, it's like I think everyone's experience going into a new job of any sort, being like, "Why am I here? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh God, I'm a fraud." Yeah, we're all frauds. None of us know what we're doing. That's the secret of adulthood. Nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just muddling through and hoping that nobody else figures out that we don't know what we're doing. That's it. So it was a tech blog that contained very little tech, but was a nice little plug for, hey, if you want to work at Bungie, you can go work at Bungie. They're hiring for a number of things they listed at the end. And Florida is one of their new remote states. There's like 5 or 6 states where you can work remotely there. So yeah, Florida, you too could go work for Bungie. Gator,
Speaking of,
have you got your application yet? Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, none of us have any idea what we're doing, right?
Mhm.
While I was in college, my IT professor was an Asian immigrant. I won't say where he's from, but he was an Asian immigrant.
Asia.
And he said when he came to America, he worked as a janitor. And whenever he had the opportunity, he'd apply for a job and lie on the application, right? He'd apply for a job he had no experience for and he had no idea how to do. And then he'd put on the resume everything they needed to know, bluff his way through the interview, and then get the job. And by the time they found out he had no idea what he was doing, now he had experience in that field. So then he would take that to a different job with similar interests and repeat the process over and over again. And he said that is how eventually he got his doctorate in, computer sciences. And I was like, so you're telling me to deliberately lie on an application to get experience for the job I want, and then take that experience to another place to do that same job again?
He straight up faked it until he made it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's. Given the economy we're in, I'm sure there's many people hunting for work.
Yeah.
Just remember that a job description is a wish list.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I mean, this is particularly true in tech work, but really for a lot of things. I mean, technology is famous for saying, hey, we want 10 years experience. And the literal founder of the technology is like, guys, this thing is only 3 years old.
You've seen that?
I don't.
I've seen that too.
I mean, it happens over and over again because HR uses these templates to say we need 10 years in this and 5 years in this and whatever. Whatever the job is, if you're halfway qualified, if you're like, I can do half of these things and can learn the rest of it, that's
Yeah.
all anyone is really looking for. Apply anyway. What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. You know, you're not going to hurt their feelings by showing them up, them being like, no, you're not qualified. Who cares? You could get the job. You too could work your way from 0 to professor by going, I can figure it out.
Doctorate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all it is you're fake it till you make it. You can work your way through it and figure it out. Because really, if you're teachable and trainable and you can learn the thing they're trying to get you to do, that's it. That's all they're really looking for.
That's all you need.
And
yeah.
and
And,
you know,
hey,
can
Bluff,
use your
say,
brain.
hey, it's been a while. I might need a brush up on it. You know, boom. You got
You have-
OJT immediately.
You have the internet. You have YouTube. You can learn things.
That's not entirely true for proprietary technology. What I work on, you cannot find on the internet.
Not with that kind of attitude.
Oh, I mean, if it's on the internet, we got bigger problems to worry about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But honestly, even then, like the stuff you're doing, like something software, something telephone lines.
Well, yeah, we use servers, but all the stuff on the servers is proprietary software. All the apps, all the everything. It's all proprietary.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, if you use software, you can learn any other software.
Yes,
It's all software. This button does this, that button does that. That's all it is. So yeah, this has been your
fake it till you make it segment.
Yeah, exactly. Go apply for things. What do you got to lose?
Worst they can do is say no, right?
Yeah, literally nothing.
Worst case scenario, you don't get the job. Best case scenario, you get experience before you get fired. Boom.
And then you have a doctorate, and you can lord it over people. And then you too could be an anecdote on a podcast many years from now.
For real. All right. On that note, my butt hurts because I've been sitting too long, so I'm a dip.
And with that, there's no respawn report roundup because
there is.
Nitedemon
Do we have one? I didn't see one. I love.
That's
didn't make you one.
I did. There's one item that's in there.
Oh, is that why? Okay, let's see.
It doesn't even warrant your respawn's report roundup music. It's just one item, but it's necessary for letting the community know.
Here we go. Bam. Destiny News Plus says new. Bungie has confirmed that all the unobtainable exotic catalysts right now in Destiny 2 will be added to the activities pool with the Witch Queen. So if there's any exotic catalysts you don't have, they're all going to be in one of these three pools. Vanguard, Gambit, or PvP. Destiny 2. Yep, that's what it says.
There you go.
It says right now, all of the ones that are right now in Destiny 2. Ones that come out next season for new guns will not be in that pool.
No, that's your own quest. Yeah. But so all the things that I didn't do, like Outbreak or Whisper or all of those things, I could get them for free. I can lazy my way into success. I love it. Love it.
Well,
Big fan.
I mean, you've waited a long time to get them done, so longer than a lot of other people.
I still need.
We might as well just throw them at you.
I still need Rat King people because my catalyst is like 60% done.
I haven't done it at all. There you go.
Please
That's what
help
we can do
me
together.
Finish my catalyst. I hate that catalyst needs other people using the gun. It's so stupid.
I mean, but
stupid.
Is it though? It's literally the Rat King. I mean, you can't be the Rat King without other rats.
I know you need a rat pack, but still, I mean, nobody uses the damn gun.
I will do it with you. At some point, you and me can run it. It's fine.
I'm pretty sure you've proven you are not worthy of the Rat King by not being the Rat King.
No.
I think I'll have to check mine now. I think I remember doing mine a million years. Not sure.
You actually finished yours? Oh, you dirty dog.
I think I did because I think I forced Blue Screen or Pan or whoever was also like, we need to get this done. It's like, all right, we're gonna run strikes with this stupid thing on until we get it done.
It was sad.
So yeah, as I said at the beginning, with our Grandmasters and our Nightfalls next week, they haven't actually said whether the Grandmasters are going to be on rotation, but we do have the Hollowed Layer. So going back from 6 weeks ago, still in our show notes from now, we have the Hollowed Layer Grandmaster Nightfall guides. I think it was Above and Fallout, with a couple of extra tips in there. But for this week, with the Proving Grounds, we have Cheese Forever giving you 5 cheeses that might help you out. Lucky 10p has a good boss cheese at the end, if you need help with doing that. There was also Mano Destra. He did a tank cheesing kind of, well, it's not really a cheese. It's more of a strat in the tank room to melt one of the tanks down really, really quickly and take out those. So if you're doing the GMs, there's that. I'll also link the above and Aztecross's video because he did it actually with Fallout. So he made a separate video from Fallout. I don't know why, but I thought we'd mix it up this week and have an Aztecross video. So you've got above and Aztecross going through the whole thing, basically, telling you where to stand, what to do. I tried to do a GM this week with a couple of randoms off of LFG, and they went off and they were doing their own thing, and I was like, okay,
As
so we're not
usual.
even going to try and do one of the strats that I've watched. Okay, they were talking in their own language. They were doing whatever they wanted to do. So I was just trying to do the best support that I could be. It didn't go very well when we got to the tank room. So let's just say I haven't done the GM this week. But that wasn't through not watching the videos. I watched the videos. I tried the strats as best I could. It doesn't help when you don't have the other two doing it at the same time. So I do recommend taking in a fire team that are all on the same page when doing one of these GMs. Not necessarily doing a normal nightfall, because when you fail, you don't get kicked back to orbit. It's only the GMs.
So, pro tip:
In addition,
bring
there
a
was
team that
also
speaks the same language.
Oh yeah, do that as well.
Aztecross had a good video too about the darkest before. He called the dankest before. Shows you that pulse rifle is actually pretty phenomenal in our current sandbox, and it's underrated. It's what I use in my PvP if I'm not using the messenger.
Oh,
Because
it's not
messengers,
underrated. It's amazing.
yeah, no,
It's well rated.
amazing. Yeah,
And you know what Respawn will do? He will drop the link in the chat for me to put in our show notes, so
I
that
absolutely
you
will.
know what he's talking about.
I will do that right now.
Do that right now before you
I'll do it
forget.
right there. Boop. I don't want to save the playlist. Pop.
Anywhere, be fine.
Yep, I'm working on it.
I'll find it.
Copying the clip. Here we go. Copy. Here we go. Right. Show notes. It's in show notes right there. The only thing that I kind of disagree with Aztecross on in the video is his god roll is full auto surplus, staggering rounds. I forgot what those are called. Yeah, and that it's really good. I have that roll, but the roll I like better is full auto with overflow, ricochet rounds, and small bore. The ricochet rounds with small bore actually give me more stability and range than the god roll that he described. The only thing that's better about his god roll is he would have faster reload speed and faster and better handling. That's really it. So
you just pray to a different god. It's fine.
yeah. I mean, I like having the range and the stability better, and it's still full auto. And then of course I get double magazine if I pick up special. So that's just my input. But it's a phenomenal pulse rifle. If you don't have one, get one. Watch Aztecross's video, and yeah, take a look.
It might be on my list of things to do next week.
Yep.
And where might I go find this lovely video, this lovely pulse rifle? Where can I get that?
That is in the dungeon that is called it's called You Can Access It from the Tower.
The dredging dungeon. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go see the drifter. Whoops, I'm in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Prophecy.
Yeah, well, you see the 9
Prophecy?
at the end.
The Prophecy dungeon. There you go. Selectable via the tower.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're going to visit the drifter and you see a big angry knight, you've hit the wrong button. Turn back.
No, you've hit the right button. That is where you want to go.
Yeah. So I do have 3 videos left for you for this week for tips, tricks. Crazy Mr. Pips has a how to use a bow like a bow video. Really, really good. And I do recommend you watching it, especially you, Respawn, because you seem to be struggling with bows.
That man is way too good at bows. It's not right. I don't like it. No one should be that good with a bow in PvP.
No, he's second only to me.
We have the Titan Wolverine build from Spider Sides this week. So if you want to kind of look like Wolverine with the colours and things, not necessarily actually being Wolverine, because that would be completely broken in PvP if you were Wolverine and just constantly healing. It's just a look of looking like Wolverine.
Oh, that's disappointing.
And then True Vanguard
claws.
has the. Sorry?
I want claws.
No, they don't give you the claws.
Hunters have claws. Well, I mean, it's more of a spike, but yeah.
And then finally, True Vanguard has the punching out sidearm. So this is the new one that you can get from the Strike playlist. Has some interesting perks. It's a Suros rapid fire frame. Have a look at it if you haven't got a Fool's Remedy from Iron Banner. This may be one that you want to look at. So check that video out. That's it. That's all my videos.
That's it.
I'm here to help the people, but I'm still angry at Bungie.
These are just quad 100. Oh, that's too loud.
They don't need your help. They have their own help.
They need help.
Yeah. And don't forget to check Ada 1 down in the bottom bases of the tower and the gunsmith every day if you are missing any mods from any of the previous seasons. That's one thing that I see quite a lot of on YouTube and Twitter, people posting like, this is going live, this is live today, go and check this out if you don't have this mod, because there are a lot of War Mind Cell mods. Even I'm missing one or two that don't seem to have come up or I've completely missed from, and I did literally, there wasn't anything that I kind of missed from that season apart from the mods, and that was only because they just wouldn't drop from the activity. But yeah, so even I'm still missing a few of those War Mind Cell mods that I'm kind of looking out for. But they have the Well mods, they have the War Mind Cell mods. Just, it's worth keep checking in daily. Have a look on Twitter. I do believe there are a couple of places like Destiny News Plus that do highlight when some of the well-known ones that kind of come up, like when Powerful Friends comes up and things like that. So yeah, keep an eye out for those if you are missing some of those.
Yeah.
Any other tips that you guys can give?
If you are on Twitter, there is a bot literally called Destiny Insights at Destiny Insights that will list what Banshee is selling every day, what Ada is selling every day. And also, if you follow Destiny Tracker, they have a number of things like what the Lost Sector rotations are for the day. So if you want to get your news through Twitter, there's a number of good places and bots and lists of people put together to follow.
There you go.
But no, I think that's everything. So I think it's about that time. And I'm gonna guess that nobody saw Not Arf out in the world. I didn't see anybody telling us that they had found Arf. No sightings.
No emails.
Yeah. So he's eluded everyone yet again. So we're gonna run our Arf bounty again. If you see Not Arf in the world, capture him, video clip him, send it to the show. We want to have fun at his expense because that's what we're here to do. So yeah.
Don't forget, we're gonna give a prize away for the best picture or video for finding Not Arf. He is aware. I did message him at the beginning of the week and said, basically, you are now a bounty. People will be looking for you.
Fun.
So he's just not even going online. That's how
I
you
may
do that.
have to kind of jump on my account then. So I do believe he has been on his account this week. So you do just have to find him.
And live in the UK where there are no Bungie bounties or Bungie.
This is a 2 Titan bounty. Go find him. We don't count. Although remember, if you find Respawn in the tower, what is it we have to tell him?
About economies and how they work.
There you go. He's good. He's remembered. Well done, Respawn.
Shut up.
Respawn, have you gotten anything to drop this week?
No.
Have you picked up any bounties this week?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, progress. We're learning.
It was on video this morning. I have proof I picked up bounties. I have proof I completed them.
Don't forget, next week, Respawn, double Nightfall rewards. So you'll get double shards when you get a shard.
No, I'll get double opportunities of not getting shards. That's what's going to happen.
Either way.
Yeah.
You're getting double something.
Yeah.
I'm going to double my time on out of here. And
we need to go. Yeah.
Double time and out. Thank you for joining us. Your Titans, your Peroty, and Nitedemon. Your hunters, no one respawns in real life. Your lore scribe, still out there. Not Arf, not here, not interesting this week. Has nothing for you. You can email the show at 2titans@100@hotmail.com. We're on Twitter at 2titans_hunter. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Really, we're there in the world. 2 Titans and a hunter. Not 2 Titans. They're Russian. We don't know what they're saying. Probably all good things, because all good Titan dads do. Find all your favorite Guardians on Destiny. That's where we live. That's where we play it. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, everywhere fine podcasts are sold. And for the love of all that is good, go to YouTube. Give us a follow. Nitedemon works very, very hard on the president I sent and then absolutely dropped in his lap to continue with. So go enjoy the show on YouTube, because why would you not? And until next week, goodbye, gents.
There you.
Destiny 2 podcast.
Awkward silence. How very uncomfortable.